Chapter 2121 Transformation, the body of the original Zhou Tian. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. Cut. Yi Tian used the blade of imaginary instant, and slashed it directly. How powerful is his strength, even if it is the blade of void instant, which only contains 72 extremes, its power is terrifying to the extreme. Bingyu Yuanzhu tried to block Yi Tian's void blade with a defensive primitive control technique, but the defense was directly pierced. Shout out. Bingyu Yuanzhu's body was torn apart. Although he didn't fall, he was only seriously injured, but it made him dumbfounded. Glass holy cover. Bingyu Yuanzhu was shocked. Yi Tian actually practiced this sacred art, and his defense was invincible. How could he wear it? It would be fine if Yi Tian was just defensive, but Yi Tian's attack power was so terrifying that it surpassed his own defense. Boom. Fighting again and again, the body of Bingyu Yuanzhu was pierced by Yi Tian again and again, and the injury became more and more serious. In the end, Bingyu Yuanzhu chose to admit defeat. I surrender. Bingyu Yuanzhu said helplessly. He didn't want to let his will clone fall, otherwise it would take a long time and a huge price to recover slowly, and it wouldn't be worth it. As Bingyu Yuanzhu conceded defeat, it represented that Yi Tian became a holy son of the main line. And the original ancestor of Bingyu could only go to another line to become a holy son, or to descend to the true disciple of the main line, only these two choices. In the end, the original ancestor of Ice Feather chose to become the son of other veins. After becoming the holy son of the Void Fang holy sect, Yi Tian soon enjoyed the treatment of the holy son. The holy son can actually master 10 treasured lands, and he can also have a quadruple ancestor as a servant. Yi Tian was shocked. These two treatments are too good. Of course, it also reflects how high the status of the holy son of the 5th layer holy sect is, and the elders of the 4th layer heavenly sect are far behind. Moreover, the strength of the 5th layer holy gate is too powerful, and the resources it has are far from comparable to other forces. In addition to these two benefits, Yi Tian can also have a lot of resources, many inheritances, and the benefits of listening to the sermons of the 5 ancestors. Moreover, Yi Tian can also enjoy the many cultivation holy places of the Void Fang sect. For example, many places are suitable for comprehending the extreme way, and the effect of comprehension is far beyond those of the cultivation treasures of the 4th heaven sect. This is also the reason why the holy sons can comprehend a lot of extremes, but it is difficult for the 4th level Tianmen to cultivate a 3-level ancestor who comprehends the 72 extremes. Extreme Mountain. This is one of the foundations of the Void Fang sect. It is rumored that it is one of the treasures that the 5 ancestors of the Void sect fought with many 5 ancestors in the original Black Sea and finally snatch it back. It is said that for this extreme mountain, the Holy Gate of Void Fang also lost 3 original ancestors of the 5 layers. And the role of the Limit Mountain is to assist the understanding of the Limit Pole, and the efficiency is at least dozens of times or more than the outside world. Only true disciples and holy sons can enter the Limit Mountain, and true disciples have to pay a huge contribution value to enter the Limit Mountain, but the holy son does not need contribution points, and can always comprehend and cultivate in the Limit Mountain. This is also one of the treatment of the Son of God. Of course, as the holy son of the main vein, Yi Tian can also obtain some extremely rare resources, such as the resources for practicing holy arts, which he can exchange, while the holy son of the ordinary vein does not have this treatment. This day, a 4th level ancestor came to Yi Tian's side. This is a female ancestor named Xuanyu Yuanzhu. Meet the master. The original ancestor of Xuanyu said respectfully. Tell me about your origins. Yi Tian said. Although it was arranged by the holy sect of Void Fang, he also had to know the identity and origin of this servant, so he couldn't just let her do things for him without knowing anything. Yes, master. Xuanyu Yuanzhu quickly explained his origins. It turned out that the original ancestor of Xuanyu came from a 4th level heavenly sect under the holy sect of Void Fang, and her talent was also very good. Today, she lacks resources and is still in the early stage of the 4-fold primitive ancestor. She also wanted to grow up, so she chose to enter the holy gate of Void Fang as a servant. In this way, following a holy child, if the holy child grows to the 5th level ancestor, she can also follow the glory, and there is hope to reach the peak of the 4th level ancestor or even the realm of the half-step 5th level ancestor. Of course, being a servant of the Holy Son is also more dangerous. If there is a dangerous thing for her to do, or even for her deity to do it, she might perish. Some of the holy sons of the Void Fang Holy Gate even changed several servants. Therefore, becoming a servant of the Sun is both an opportunity and a crisis. From now on, you can deal with some things by my side. Yi Tian said lightly. But in fact, he didn't have anything to do with Xuanyu Yuanzu, so he went directly to the extreme mountain. He was going to retreat and practice in the extreme mountain, and realized all the 365 extremes. At that time, he will be able to condense the 365 extremes on the pagoda of will, and his strength will reach the true limit of the 3 original ancestors. Extreme Mountain. Yi Tian came here as a holy son, and directly sensed the dense extreme aura that filled the entire extreme mountain. Here, all kinds of extremes are actually embodied. Yi Tian was shocked. No wonder people can quickly comprehend the extreme way. However, the number of extremes that each primitive ancestor comprehends is limited. When it comes to the latter, the time and price paid for each extreme understanding must be superimposed. One can imagine how difficult it is to find more than 100 kinds. As for comprehending 365 kinds, it is almost impossible. That is, Yi Tian, who has a lot of extreme ancestral inscriptions, can easily comprehend all kinds of extremes. Next, let's take it slow. Yi Tian found a suitable place, sat cross-legged, and began to comprehend and cultivate various extremes. Extreme Mountain, combined with resource comprehension, plus my own extreme pole, this speed is flying. Yi Tian said in shock. At this speed, he estimates that it only takes 5 yuan epochs to comprehend a limit pole. Years have passed, and hundreds of original eras have passed. For those holy sons, it is nothing to retreat for hundreds of original eras at a time, and there may be no progress. However, no one knows how terrifying the speed of Yi Tian's progress. At this moment, he is about to comprehend the 364 extremes. Boom! The 364 extremes were realized by Yi Tian. And at this time, Yi Tian's endless extreme Dao has finally been upgraded to the ultimate extreme Dao level. So far, 365 extreme poles have been completely assembled. Afterwards, he took a little more time to inscribe all the 365 floors of the pagoda of will on the 365 black characters of the original Zhoutian map. That is, at the moment when the 365 black characters were all inscribed, all these black characters allowed the pagoda of will to feed back the corresponding extreme power, and merged into the body, forming some kind of transformation. He is about to condense the body of the original Zhoutian. Chapter 2122 Endless Golden Light, Sudden Order. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Now, Yi Tian's body transformed at an incredible speed, and his strength continued to skyrocket. Because he broke through in the dojo of the primordial Black Sea, the energy of the countless primordial Black Sea around him poured into his body, helping him to complete the final transformation of the original ancestor. Years passed, and in the blink of an eye, an era of origin time passed. This day, Yi Tian's original Zhoutian body was finally completely condensed. This is the body of the original Zhoutian, it must be too powerful. Yi Tian said in shock. His current body of the original ancestor far surpassed those holy children, and he was afraid that he could crush those holy children with one hand, and he did not even need to use the original control skills. Try whether the holy technique like in golden light can break my original Zhoutian body. Yi Tian led another copy body shot, and directly cast the golden light from the dust. Boom! The golden light from the dust hit the original Zhoutian's body, but did not cast the glazed holy hood. However, the golden light from the dust only made his body hurt a little, but he didn't even break the defense. It seems that ordinary sacred arts are completely meaningless to me from now on. Yi Tian said with a smile. His current strength has grown to the point where even the 4 ancestors can't understand 110. Moreover, he can go to the deepest part of the core area of the end of the cloud. There are good things there. If he doesn't go now, he will not be able to enter the end of the cloud after he breaks through to the 4th level ancestor. Speaking, Yi Tian first turned all of his duplicate bodies into a state of condensing the original Zhoutian body, and then let a duplicate body go to the end of the cloudless. Endless clouds. Yi Tian came here and then entered the most core area. Soon, a group of black cloud beasts tried to intercept Yi Tian and were directly crushed by Yi Tian's hand. At this time, he doesn't even need the glazed holy hood, and he can directly enter the body to resist the suppression here. After a while, Yi Tian reached the core area. Boom! A group of black cloud beasts of the quadruple ancestral level appeared, trying to surround Yi Tian. However, Tai Chu Quan, Yi Tian created the top primal control technique with 108 extremes. Tai Chu Fist instantly smashed a black cloud beast of the 4th level primordial ancestry. The power of this punch has surpassed Lycan Jingguang. Boom! CJFJ. One by one, the black cloud beasts of the 4th level primitive ancestry level were bombarded and killed by ETN. In a short while, these black cloud beasts were all destroyed. I'm too strong now, these black cloud beasts can't threaten me at all. ETN muttered. Immediately, he came to the corpse of the fallen black cloud beast. This black cloud behemoth does not know how many years it has fallen, and it is afraid that it is incomparably long, but the aura it exudes still makes ETN feel terrified. Fortunately, it has fallen, otherwise, a wisp of breath would have killed ETN. As ETN got closer and closer to the corpse of this black cloud giant beast, the suppression became bigger and bigger. However, he finally got here. Just this corpse is a priceless treasure, but unfortunately I can't take it away. ETN muttered. Although he couldn't take this black cloud giant beast away, the resources here could be taken away by him. The many resources bred here are enough to make the quadruple ancestors crazy, and the value is too high. So, ETN took away each resource, and it took a long time to scrap it all away. Subsequently, ETN tried to investigate the inside of the black cloud giant beast's body, and found that the middle position of the black cloud giant beast was directly penetrated by a force and could not be recovered. A wisp of that power seemed to be able to kill him. Of course, as long as you don't touch this breath, there is still no danger. It's a pity that there are no treasures left, otherwise give me a little treasure, and I will make a lot of money. ETN said regretfully. However, he did not leave immediately, but comprehended that breath. The owner of this breath can pierce through such a terrifying black cloud beast with a single blow. How terrifying is his strength? If he comprehends something, or imitates the charm of 1/10,000th, he can create a very powerful primordial control skills. So in the following years, ETN wanted to create a primitive control technique involving 365 extreme ways. Because to become the original ancestor of the 4th layer, it is necessary to use a primitive control technique as the core to break the shackles and turn it into a life control technique. The power of the life control technique is very terrifying, and the power consumption is small, and the power will be increased. He originally wanted to break through Taichuquan to become the original ancestor of the fourfold. After all, Taichuquan only involved 108 extreme extremes, and he fully comprehended 365 extreme extremes. Don't be in a hurry to break through, wait until you have comprehended the primordial control skills that contain the 365 extreme extremes, and then attack the 4-layer primordial ancestor. ETN decided. In the years that followed, this body of his comprehends the attack that killed the black cloud beast. Below, breath. The years are like marks, and in a flash, it is the 10,000-year-old era. Finally, on this day, ETN created this original control technique. In the cloudless end, a black cloud beast of the 4th layer primitive ancestry level was just born, and ETN pointed it out. Immediately, a golden ray of light came across time and space, directly piercing the 4-layered primordial black cloud beast. Then, the black cloud beast turned into powder and dissipated. In fact, this black cloud beast could not test the power of this move, but ETN felt that it was enough. This move contains 365 extreme extremes, and it is dominated by endless extremes, so it is called Endless Golden Light. 1. ETN named it. Next, he will impact the quadruple primordial ancestor with Endless Golden Light, turning it into his own primordial control technique. The Holy Door of Void Fang. This copy of ETN's body came back. Just when he was about to apply to attack the 4th level ancestor, the Fengming ancestor of the Void Fang Holy Sect issued an order not to let him attack the 4th level ancestor for the time being. I am not allowed to attack the 4th level ancestor. No wonder the Holy Sect of the Void Fang stipulated that any holy child who wants to attack the 4th level ancestor must apply for it. ETN secretly said. He felt that the Holy Sect of the Void Fang was afraid that they would need their holy sons to do something, and only the 3 ancestors could go. Then, ETN asked the original ancestor of Fengming of the Void Fang sect, why was he not allowed to break through? At this time, the original ancestor of Fengming gave a time. Breakthrough is not allowed within the 30,000 yuan era. She only gave such a sentence. As for more information, she did not say. The 30,000-year-old era is not allowed to break through, then wait a little longer. In the next few years, focus on creating the original control skills. 1. ETN is going to create a few more control skills that contain 365 extreme extremes to enhance his strength. Chapter 2123 Taishi Gold Liquid. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. Years go by. In the blink of an eye, more than 10,000 yuan eras passed. With the experience of creating endless golden light last time, this time Yi Tian has created a primitive control technique of the same level, but it is the primary control technique of defense endless mask. The defensive effect of the endless mask is even far greater than that of the glazed holy mask, which can be used as a whole card. After that, more than 10,000 yuan eras passed, Yi Tian created the third primitive control technique involving 365 extreme extremes, endless extreme speed. So far, Yi Tian has possessed 3 primitive control skills involving 365 extreme extremes. At this moment, his strength reached an unimaginable level. It's almost time. The original ancestor of Fengming said that after this period of time, he can go to attack the original ancestor of the 4th layer. If there is anything important, it is estimated that it will be announced. Yi Tian muttered. Sure enough, on this day, the original ancestor of Fengming and the other 5 ancestors called their group of holy sons. Hall of Void Tooth. Yi Tian waited for a group of holy sons to come, and saw a statue of the 5 original ancestors. These 5th-level ancestors restrained their breath, so Yi Tian and other 3rd-level ancestors did not feel too majestic aura, otherwise the breath of 5th-level ancestors was not something they could bear. I have seen you elders. A holy son respectfully said. At this time, the original ancestor of the 5th layer, Fengming, said, I reminded you before that you are not allowed to attack the ancestor of the 4th layer. You should all be very puzzled. This time I will tell you. The Shangling Yuan and another powerful force a war broke out between the 5 ancestors, and finally a newly born supreme treasure land was snatched. In this supreme treasure land, we have discovered many precious treasures, such as Taishi Jinye. This treasure helps to condense the second life primordial control skills. Second birth control technique. Many saints were shocked. Isn't there only one primordial control skill? The primordial control skill is far superior to the ordinary primordial control skill. If there is a second primordial control skill, the strength will definitely increase greatly. They didn't ask, because the original ancestor of Fengming would definitely explain. I saw Fengming Yuan ancestor continue. Under normal circumstances, the triple Yuan ancestor can only have one primordial control skill, but Taishi gold liquid is too rare, so this information is rarely spread. As long as there are enough Taishi primordial masters. Gold liquid, you can condense the second natal primordial control skill and the third natal primordial control skill. And a few more natal primordial control skills, not only the improvement of combat power, but also the improvement of potential, the improvement of foundation. Not only that, if absorb enough Taishi gold liquid to create a more perfect foundation, which will help to impact the 5-layer ancestor in the future. Of course, in addition to the Taishi gold liquid, there are also items that are helpful to us 5-layer ancestors. We will give you a list. When you bring these treasures out, the Holy Gate of Void Fang will give you enough benefits. Except for the treasures on the list, all other treasures obtained belong to yourselves, including Taishi Jinye. When the many saints heard it, they were extremely excited. The value of this Taishi gold liquid is too high, and their luck is too good to have encountered such a good thing. If they hit the 4th-level ancestor, then this good opportunity has nothing to do with them. Taishi Jinyi can even form the second original control technique and the third original control technique. It was a pity that only one original control technique was transformed into the original control technique. I didn't expect that there would be a solution. Yi Tian secretly said. Fortunately, he joined the holy sect of the Void Fang, otherwise he would have been unable to bear it any longer, and would have directly attacked the 4-fold primitive ancestor. However, Yi Tian also noticed that some holy sons, although they looked shocked, were actually pretending, and obviously knew about this a long time ago. It seems that these holy sons have been vigorously cultivated, obtained this information early, and have been improving their strength to enter that supreme treasure land. Yi Tian thought to himself. And the reason why he didn't get such training is that he only joined the Void Fang holy sect, and only showed 72 extremes. Although his strength is very powerful, it may not be in the eyes of Fengming's original ancestor. What they need is a more powerful triple ancestor, a triple ancestor who really has the ability to rule. The strength he exposed did not meet this standard, and the time was too late. The mere tens of thousands of yuan eras are only a blink of an eye in the eyes of the 5th-level ancestors. Even if they are trained by themselves, they cannot make a triple-level ancestor skyrocket in strength. Therefore, he was not selected. It doesn't matter, as long as you can enter that supreme treasure land, the Taishi gold liquid must belong to me. Yi Tian secretly believed. The original ancestor Fengming reminded again. Remember, your enemies this time are not only the holy sons of other 5-level holy gates, but may even face the 3-level ancestors outside the realm of Shangling Yuan. Although we occupy there, but the enemy may have a way to send the 3 original ancestors in, but it can't be sent in on a large scale, so you have an advantage in number. As the holy sons of the holy sect of the Void Fang, try not to fight each other. For flowers, try not to fight, but if you really meet the supreme treasure, who cares? After a few days of the original domain, the holy sect of the Void Fang sent more than 35 original ancestors to bring their group of holy sons and a large number of true disciples over. That's right, the true disciples are also qualified to go there. Although they are cannon fodder, there is also hope that they can snatch some good things. Maybe they can also bring out the resources that the 5 ancestors need. Therefore, if you can send it in, you can send it in. Anyway, there are a lot of places in the Virtual Tooth Holy Gate. Arrive. Point 0. Yi Tian and the other 3 ancestors came to a certain area of the original Black Sea. Here, the 3 ancestors of the 5 holy gates also came here. The 6 5-layered holy gates have all arrived. Yi Tian looked around and focused on the 3 ancestors of the Holy Spirit sect. Among the 6 5-layered sacred gates, the Void Fang sacred sect has the lowest heritage and the least number of sacred sons, while the Upper Spirit sacred sect is definitely the oldest and the most powerful sacred sect. For example, in this session, the number of holy sons who have comprehended the 72 extremes has reached more than 800. What a terrifying number! There are less than 100 holy sons of the holy sect of Void Fang. Of course, this is the total number of holy children, and the number of the 3 original ancestors is less. For example, there are only 37 ancestral sons of the holy sect of the Void Fang. However, there are probably more than 300 3-level ancestors of the holy sect of Shangling, and the number directly crushes the holy sect of the Void Fang. After the 5 sacred gates were all arrived, the original ancestor Feng Ming said, "Since they are all here, let's open the magic circle." 1. They spent countless energy to set up this magic circle to completely protect this supreme treasure land, and only allowed the development of the 5-layer holy gate of the upper spiritual realm, so this supreme treasure land is only now opened. Boom! The magic circle was opened, allowing the 3 original ancestors to enter it. Moreover, with the barrier of this magic circle, even the original ancestors of the 5 layers could not kill them from the outside world. Otherwise, with the stalwart power of the 5th-level ancestor, even in the treasure land, the 5th-level ancestor could not enter, but a trace of power could penetrate into it and kill the 3rd-level ancestor in seconds. Chapter 2124 Depressed by Yu Yuanzu. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Go in. The 5 ancestors ordered one by one. Swish. One after another, the 3 ancestors entered this supreme treasure land from the portals opened one after another. However, just after the 3-layered ancestors of the upper spiritual realm entered, an unimaginable stalwart force came, which directly tore the barriers of the upper spiritual realm and sent a group of people to enter. Court death. The 5-level ancestors of the 6 5-level holy gates in the upper spiritual realm were furious and launched an attack directly. Some triple ancestors were directly affected and were instantly annihilated. However, there are still some triple ancestors who entered the supreme treasure land and mixed with the triple ancestors of the upper spiritual realm. The 5 ancestors could not enter this treasure land, so they could not be identified. Unless they infiltrate the power and kill all the 3 ancestors inside, 110, they can't do anything about them. Damn, they seized the opportunity and sent a group of triple primitive ancestors in, don't let them go next. The original ancestor of Feng Ming said coldly. However, at this moment, another stalwart power easily disintegrated their power and sent a few triple ancestors in. This time, these 5 ancestors did not dare to stop them. Is that the original half-step 6-layer ancestor? The original ancestor of Feng Ming trembled. It should be. It is estimated that some ancient existences living in seclusion happened to know the information here, and then sent a few disciples in. Fortunately, these ancient existences are not interested in occupying this supreme treasure, otherwise we will be in trouble. Said one of the 5 ancestors. Although it is not that there are no half-step 6-level ancestors in the upper spirit realm, there are only a few, and no one knows how many half-step 6-level ancestors there are in the outside world. It was really difficult for them to occupy this place in the upper spirit realm. I hope that the disciple of the half-step 6th-level ancestor is not too powerful. Many 5 ancestors thought to themselves. Inside the supreme treasure. Yi Tian entered here and immediately felt unimaginable energy and a very special environment. Moreover, his will probed around a little, and he felt extremely rich resources. As expected of the supreme treasure that the 5th-level ancestors yearn for, any benefit here is enough to drive the 3rd-level ancestors crazy. Yi Tian murmured. Swish. Yi Tian came to an area and cleaned up the resources here one by one. Although there are not many resources useful to him, he does not want to waste resources. After all, he might only stay in such a place once, so he must clean it up. Unexpected, a group of creatures attacked him. It's the native creatures of this great land. Yi Tian secretly said. These native creatures lack inheritance, so they are not very powerful, but their physical bodies are comparable to the top 3 ancestors. Die. Yi Tian shot, instantly killed this group of creatures, and then left here directly. In the next period of time, this supreme treasure land was full of slaughter. In the face of the foreign triple ancestor, the creatures here were naturally not opponents, and were massacred. It didn't take long for the creatures here to become rare, and they didn't dare to appear again. The resources are so plentiful. Yi Tian is so cool to collect resources. Suddenly, he sensed a treasure. It was a black flower with countless golden patterns. The golden flower, Yi Tian said in shock. This is a treasure that the 5 ancestors of the Void Fang sect need, and it occupies a more important position in the list listed by the 5 ancestors. If you get this treasure, when you go out, you need to give it to the 5 ancestors, but you will also get the reward of the Void Fang Holy Gate. Swish. Yi Tian came to this golden flower of 10,000 silks, and then wrapped it up with the power of the extreme of gold, and then sealed it heavily before putting it away. This is the way of preservation recorded on the list given by the Holy Gate of Void Fang, otherwise such treasures and flowers that are randomly placed will have a great effect. But at this moment, a triple ancestor appeared. A holy son of the Holy Gate of 9 Lights. Yi Tian recognized it at a glance and was called Baiyu Yuanzu. Yuanzu Baiyu saw Yi Tian, and without saying a word, he shot directly. He knew all the powerful saints in the upper spirit realm, but Yi Tian was very unfamiliar. Although he also knew that Yi Tian was a saint, it should be because of the new saint. So, he shot directly, ready to kill Yi Tian. After all, there is also a gap in strength between the Holy Sun and the Holy Sun, and the powerful Holy Sun can even kill the weaker Holy Sun in seconds. And the first shot of Baiyu Yuanzu was a sacred art, like in golden light. It turned out to be a golden light from the dust. Yi Tian was a little surprised. Immediately, he directly released the glazed holy hood, blocking the blow. Although he could physically resist without getting hurt, he still kept a low profile at first. After all, if this ancestor Baiyu dies, his body will leak his news to the 9 Lights Holy Sect, so it is better to hide his strength for the time being. What? The glazed holy cover? Ancestor Baiyu was shocked. And at this time, Yi Tian used the Blade of Void instant to attack him. With just one blow, Baiyu Yuanzu was directly injured. Escape. Ancestor Baiyu quickly prepared to escape. After all, he can't kill Yi Tian, he is not an opponent, there is no need to fight with Yi Tian. However, Yi Tian didn't want to let him go. Swish. The sword world of the 10 directions is shrouded, and one after another, the blades of the virtual moment attack. Seeing that the injuries on his body were getting more and more serious, the original ancestor Baiyu was angry, and he had to play a trump card. But at this time, Yi Tian directly cast Tai Chu Fist, and instantly killed him. Next moment, Yi Tian grabbed a jade card. There is a force sealed inside, and if it erupted from the original ancestor Baiyu, it should be enough to kill an ordinary holy sun in seconds. However, it is not a big threat to me. Yi Tian murmured. However, his 5.9 was still a little more careful, and he couldn't give Baiyu Yuanzu any chance, so he directly used the Taichu Fist to kill him in seconds. 9 Lights Holy Gate. Damn, I was actually killed. Ancestor Baiyu said angrily. He only entered this supreme treasure land, and with his strength, he was killed so quickly. It is estimated that he was the first holy son of the 9 Lights Holy Sect to be killed. This is shameful. I have to inform the other saints to be careful about the saint, who seems to be the new saint of the Void Fang sect. Ancestor Baiyu murmured. Soon, the other saints of Zhuguang sect knew about Yi Tian's existence, but they didn't care, they only thought that the ancestor of Baiyuan was too greedy, and was killed by the other saints. In this regard, Baiyu Shengji was very helpless, but he couldn't explain it. Chapter 2125 Taishi Gold Liquid appears, snatch it. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. These guys are really going too far. The original ancestor of Bingyu kept fleeing, and the body of the original ancestor was about to collapse. He was hunted down by 5 holy sons, all of whom were the holy sons of the Holy Spirit sect, and they were no less powerful than him. Under their siege, he exhausted his cards and escaped, and these guys even tried to hunt him down. He also begged for help, but the other holy sons of the Void Fang were not ready to rescue him at all. Unexpected, Bingyu Yuanzhu saw a Yuanzhu, very unfamiliar, but the breath all over his body was terrifying. Who was this guy? Ancestor Bingyu wondered. At this moment, the other party's gaze came over. In an instant, he shivered all over, as if he was being stared at by an extremely terrifying existence. At this moment, the opponent held a long sword of the original divine soldier, and stabbed with a sword. This sword contains the power of 108 extreme extremes, concentrated in one point and running through everything. The might of this sword was even when Bingyu Yuanzhu was not injured, he couldn't bear it. Although Bingyu Yuanzhu couldn't see the mystery of this sword, he also roughly guessed that this sword was definitely not an ordinary primitive control skill, and most likely it was a perfection-level primitive control skill. In the original realm of Shengeling, many ancestors named the original control skills containing 108 extreme extremes as the perfection-level original control skills, and the original control skills containing 365 kinds were named the supreme original control skills. And the supreme primordial control skill is a legend, and the perfection-level primordial control skill is almost legendary. Therefore, the general ancestors do not know this classification. Block me, Bingyu Yuanzhu shouted in his heart. However, it was useless, his body was directly penetrated, the body of the original ancestor completely collapsed and died, and his harvest this time was also taken away by the opponent. The Holy Door of Void Fang. Who is that guy? It's too terrifying, the most powerful holy son of Void Fang is not as evil as him. The original ancestor of Bingyu said in horror. He didn't expect to encounter a guy of this level on this trip to the Supreme Treasure Land. It's a pity, I found so many treasures, but they're gone. Bingyu Yuanzhu wanted to cry without tears. At this time, he thought of Yi Tian, the original ancestor of the Endless. If that guy from the original ancestor encounters such a terrifying holy son, he will definitely be killed in seconds, and the glazed holy cover will probably not be able to withstand it soon. Bingyu Yuanzhu secretly said. He expected Yi Tian's clone to be killed. The 6th treasure. Yi Tian picked up a treasure named Juhe Void Pearl and muttered. During this time, he found 6 kinds of treasures that were of great help to the 5 ancestors, and the harvest was not bad. Moreover, he has also obtained a large amount of resources, and even if he enters the realm of the 4th ancestor, he will not need to worry about resources for at least a period of time. However, he still did not find Taishi Jinye. The ancestors of the 5 layers said that there is Taishi Jinye here, and they must have sensed the breath of Taishi Jinye. Perhaps the Taishi gold liquid is not the most precious treasure here, but for the 3 ancestors, the Taishi gold liquid is undoubtedly the treasure with the highest value. I found Taishi Jinye, I was killed. Yi Tian received a message from a holy son of the Void Fang Sacred Gate at this time. This holy son should have sent a message to all the holy sons of the Void Fang Holy Sect and informed the birthplace of the Taishi gold liquid. Moreover, a war is breaking out there. It is very troublesome to collect the Taishi gold liquid, and if there is a war, then the original ancestors must not have scraped away all the Taishi gold liquid. Swish, Yi Tian quickly shuttled past. Not only Yi Tian, many triple ancestors have passed. Of course, these 3 ancestors are almost all saints. How dare those true disciples come to participate in such a battle, otherwise they will be killed, and they will not be able to keep the resources they have already harvested. There are many ancestors. Yi Tian came to the destination, and here the battle has broken out. One after another, the holy sons exploded their original ancestors, and the terrifying aura permeated all around, and one could even see the rays of light of holy arts, tearing apart endless time and space. In such a battlefield, even the triple ancestors who have comprehended the 23 extreme extremes would not dare to approach them, otherwise the aftermath could kill them in seconds. Without any hesitation, Yi Tian directly broke into the battlefield, looking for Taishi Jinye. At this moment, they are all in a Taishi Golden River, and the Taishi Golden liquid is scattered in this Taishi Golden River, which has a very strong connection with the Taishi Golden River. It is necessary to separate the Taishi Golden liquid a little bit, and this takes time, and it takes a little bit of power to extract it, and this takes a certain amount of time and cannot be done in an instant. If it is disturbed, it will be difficult to take away the Taishi Jinye. According to the information given by the original ancestor of the 5th layer, a drop of Taishi gold liquid can turn the original control technique containing 1 extreme pole into the 2nd original control technique of life, then 72 drops of Taishi gold liquid are needed. And Yi Tian wants to use the supreme primordial control technique to transform it into the primordial control technique, then he must prepare 365 drops of Taishi gold liquid. I need too much Taishi gold liquid, and I must do my best to snatch every drop of Taishi gold liquid. Yi Tian secretly said. Soon, Yi Tian sensed the existence of a drop of Taishi gold liquid, and was about to take this drop of Taishi gold liquid. At this time, a holy sun appeared, trying to compete with Yi Tian for this drop of Taishi gold liquid. Die. Yi Tian was too lazy to fight with the opponent slowly, and directly approached the opponent with endless speed. When the opponent couldn't react, he immediately shattered the opponent's body with endless golden light. One-hit kill. Hey, this guy actually collected 23 drops of Taishi gold liquid, it seems that his strength is not weak. Yi Tian murmured. But even if the strength is not weak, it is meaningless. For him, even if he has comprehended 108 extreme extremes, it is not a matter of one blow. True Ruins Holy Gate. This is also one of the 6 five-fold holy gates. At this moment, the top holy son of the holy sect of the True Ruins, the original ancestor of Yunnan, came back to his senses with a dazed expression. I was killed in seconds. He was dumbfounded. He is one of the top saint sons of the holy sect of the True Ruins, and he has also comprehended 101 extreme extremes, and created a primitive control technique that contains 100 extreme extremes. Moreover, he still has a bunch of whole cards. As a result, before he could react, he was instantly killed. Damn, isn't that guy disguised by the top 4 ancestors? He doubted. But when one thinks of the situation of that supreme treasure land, neither the 5th level ancestors can enter, nor the 4th level ancestors. And from the point of view of cultivation, the other party is indeed only the 3rd ancestor. Chapter 2126 The Shock of the Virtual Tooth Holy Door. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. Now, the original ancestor of Yunnan was instantly killed, which directly shocked many holy children. They don't know Yi Tian, but they know the original ancestor of Yunnan, the absolute top son. No one is sure to kill the original ancestor of Yunnan, let alone the son. Although they don't know what just happened, maybe Yi Tian used his trump card to kill Yunnan Yuanzu, but even so, if this trump card can be used repeatedly, he can kill them in an instant. For a time, many holy sons did not dare to obstruct Yi Tian. After that, Yi Tian kept collecting a drop of Taishi gold liquid. However, there are only so many Taishi gold liquid here. Yi Tian wants to collect 365 drops of Taishi gold liquid in this way. I am afraid it is really difficult. At this time, he saw a holy son who was fighting against the holy son of the virtual tooth, and he shuttled directly over, killing him with one blow, taking away all the items on his body, including the Taishi gold liquid. The holy son of the holy sect of Void Fang didn't say anything, he couldn't kill him anyway, so Yi Tian's shot was not considered a head-scratcher. At this moment, Yi Tian's plan was to kill people and seize treasures. Each of these holy sons has a lot of treasures, as well as the golden liquid of the beginning. If you kill one more, you can get a lot of resources. As long as the number of kills is not too many, it will not cause the anger of the 5th layer holy gate. If you kill too many, you will be in big trouble. Even if these holy sons are just fallen clones, if they are all dead, the plan of the 5th layer holy gate will fail this time, and he must be in trouble. Thus, Yi Tian also only dared to kill a small portion of the holy son and the true inheritance, not too much, just enough. Yi Tian killed a few other 5-layered saints who were fighting against the Void Fang saints, and the other saints suddenly became terrified. Escape. Some of the weaker saints did not dare to stay, and fled one by one. Although there were still some Taishi gold liquid here, there were not many, so there was no need to stay here. Some of the top saint sons, whose strength was no less than the original ancestor of Yunnan, hesitated for a while, but in the end they did not dare to besiege Yi Tian, and they all escaped. Endless Ancestor. Endless Originator. 1. Endless Ancestor. These holy sons of the Holy Gate of Void Fang respectfully said one by one. I want all the remaining Taishi gold liquid here, let's go. Yi Tian said. At this time, a holy son's face changed, and he said, Endless Ancestor, are you going too far? Excessive. Yi Tian sneered, if you are not the holy son of the holy sect of the Void Fang, just relying on these words, your avatar is already dead, and the harvest this time is all mine. The holy son's expression changed suddenly, he didn't dare to talk nonsense anymore, and left. The other saints did not dare to stay here. After all, Yi Tian was a new saint, and he was not familiar with them and had nothing to do with them. Therefore, they could not convince Yi Tian. In a blink of an eye, there are no other saints here. So, Yi Tian collected all the Taishi gold liquid here drop by drop. In addition to the holy son he killed before, he also obtained some Taishi gold liquid from them. In the end, he calculated that the amount of Taishi gold liquid on his body had reached 366 drops. Enough to turn the second supreme primordial control skill into the primordial control skill, but it is still far from the third primordial control skill. Yi Tian murmured. If he had killed all those holy sons just now, he should be able to collect more than 1,000 drops of Taishi gold liquid. It is a pity that the price of doing so is too great. He is only the third ancestor at present, and he cannot bear the consequences at all, and the holy sect of Void Fang may not be able to keep him. Although the 5-layer holy gate may not be able to find the end of the realm, he will not want to go to the realm of the upper spirit in the future, otherwise he will definitely be targeted. So, think about it carefully. The holy door of Void Fang. Soon, the original ancestors such as Feng Ming and other 5-level ancestors also knew what happened in the Supreme Treasure Land, and knew that Yi Tian had several holy sons in a few seconds, including the top holy sons like Yun and Yuanzu. For a while, Feng Ming's ancestor was shocked. The endless ancestor is so strong, it seems that the last time he fought against the Bingyu ancestor, he retained his strength. Feng Ming ancestor secretly said. And not long after, Bingyu Yuanzu also knew about this. What? The endless primordial ancestor killed Yun and Yuanzu and many other holy sons in seconds. Bingyu Yuanzu said that he could not accept this fact. How powerful is Yun and Yuanzu? It is said that he has comprehended more than 100 extreme extremes, and has also created primitive control skills containing 100 extreme extremes, and has many trump cards. It is estimated that he will have to be killed when he encounters the original ancestor of Yunan, and the strength gap is too large. But Yi Tian can kill Yun and Yuanzu in 1 second, doesn't it mean that Yi Tian can kill him in 1 second? Impossible, he definitely used his trump card and borrowed external force. Bingyu Yuanzu comforted himself. However, what Yi Tian killed was not one holy son, but many holy sons. Even if it is really an external force, the external force that can be used continuously is also a kind of one's own strength. All of a sudden, he lost his mind. He was eliminated, but Yi Tian slaughtered the quartet in the Supreme Treasure Land, and his reputation shook the entire Shangling Yuan. Such a comparison made him a little unacceptable. I have seen the anti-elder. Yi Tian saw that the original ancestor of Feng Ming had come, and said respectfully. Infinite ancestor, I know what happened to you in the Supreme Treasure Land, how far has your strength reached? Feng Ming Yuan ancestor asked. Can this be omitted? Yi Tian asked. After all, his strength is indeed too amazing, it is absolutely impossible to describe it in terms of talent. If it is said, the original ancestor of Feng Ming may have to suspect that he has an unimaginable background, so he will take action against him. So, he didn't want to say. The original ancestor of Feng Ming was surprised. She knew that Yi Tian could comprehend a lot of extreme extremes, so she was worried that her talent would cause jealousy. She also understands this situation. It seems that there are 108 kinds of extreme extremes comprehended by the original ancestor of the Endless, or even more than 108, and it must have created the perfection level original control skills. Feng Ming Yuanzu secretly said. Immediately, she asked. The most powerful saint in the 9 Lights Holy Land is called the 9 Primordial Ancestors. The original ancestor's body is called the Yuanwang Immortal Body, which is the original ancestor's body transformed after the inscription of the original Phoenix Immortality technique is complete. As far as I know, this holy son has no will clone, and this time he went to the main body, but his life-saving ability is too powerful. Unlike other holy children use special methods to integrate the power of holy arts into their will clones, so they can use holy arts several times. Once they are used up, they cannot be replenished, and the power will not be very strong. But he is different, he is the main body, so he can use the holy art unscrupulously. 1. Yi Tian nodded slightly. He knew that the will clone can also perform holy arts. This is the inheritance of the 5th level holy gate, and the 4th level heavenly gate does not have it. And he can also use this kind of secret technique now, but the will clone cannot use the holy technique for a long time. It can only be used as a whole card, and once it is used up, it will be gone. Moreover, only one kind of holy technique can be used, and the power is not as powerful as the holy technique used by the main body. One can imagine how terrifying the strength of the 9 original ancestors using 9 sacred arts. Is there any way you can kill the 9 ancestors? The original ancestor of Feng Ming asked. What, kill the 9 ancestors? Yi Tian was shocked. The 9 original ancestors are the main body. Once they are killed, they will really fall. If he kills the 9 ancestors, the 9 Lights Holy Sect will not be able to retaliate against him. Feng Mingyuan ancestor saw Yi Tian's worries and said, "Don't worry, our Void Fang sect has a bad relationship with Zhuguang sect, and they have also assassinated our holy son. The power of the level, the fall of the 3rd level ancestor and the 4th level original ancestor, cannot affect the foundation of the 5th level holy door. Therefore, even if you kill the 9 original ancestors, we can keep you. When you become the 4th level original ancestor, with your strength, as long as the original ancestor of the 5th layer does not make a move, the holy sect of 9 lights will not be able to do anything. And the original ancestor of the 5th layer has constraints and cannot be taken casually. So, you don't have to worry. The 5th ancestor can't do anything casually, then I promise." Yi Tian nodded. At this time, the original ancestor of Feng Ming said again, "The holy sons and true disciples of the 9 Lights Holy Land can also kill more, but they can't kill them all." "It is good." Yi Tian also nodded. Chapter 2127 Kill the 9 Ancestors. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. With the guarantee of Feng Ming's original ancestor, Yi Tian dared to kill the holy sons of Zhuguang Shengmen. As long as it is not too much, there is no big problem. And the 9 ancestors were the ones who were sure to kill. Unsurpassed treasure. While Yi Tian was collecting resources, he was looking for the original ancestor of the 9 Lights Holy Sect. Soon, a true disciple level triple primitive was sensed by Yi Tian that a phantom blade instantly killed the opponent, and then he collected the resources on him and left. With the passage of time, a true disciple and holy son named Zhuguang Shengmen was found by Yi Tian and killed one by one. Such a move made Zhuguang Shengmen completely angry, but they were also afraid of Yi Tian. 9 Lights Holy Gate. The ancestor of the dawn called an avatar left by the 9 original ancestors to him. The incarnation has no strength, and after the distance is very far, it can only be held in a special way by force, and it cannot be used for battle at all, and it even takes a long time to connect with the main body. The 9 ancestors are the direct disciples of the ancestors of the morning sun, and they are also the strongest triple ancestors of the generation of Zhuguang Shengmen. Master. The 9 original ancestors came to the front of the ancestors of the morning sun and respectfully said, "9 Zun, you have met the endless ancestor of the 9 Lights Holy Sect, don't fight with each other," said the dawn holy ancestor. Why? The 9 ancestors were puzzled. The endless ancestor killed the original ancestor of Yunnan. This can only mean that the original ancestor of Ming Yunnan is too weak, and it may be careless. And I want to kill the original ancestor of Yunnan. Difficult, not necessarily weaker than the original ancestor of the Endless. Moreover, I entered as the deity, and I can use all kinds of sacred arts without restrictions, while the clones of other holy children can't use the sacred arts a few times, and they can't sustain the battle for long. If the original ancestor dared to come to trouble me, I will kill his clone directly. It's not worth it. Chen Shi Yuanzu sighed. You are the deity, if you fall, you will really fall, but the endless ancestor is different, he is a clone, and if he dies, he will lose this opportunity, but the impact not big, the future potential is still very high. Fighting with the endless ancestors is not worth it for you. Master, you can rest assured, my physique is special, and the way of cultivation is special, even the top 4 level ancestors are difficult to kill me, the endless ancestors can't kill me at all. 9 ancestors said. This is an order. Based on our relationship with the Void Fang sect, the Void Fang sect will definitely let the infinite ancestor deal with you, they don't like to see you rise. You are only the 3rd ancestor, your physique and the way of cultivation have arrived. The 5-layered ancestor is truly a rise. At that time, a bunch of 5-layered ancestors could not kill you. You are far more important to our 9 Lights Holy Sect than a 5-layered ancestor. Chen Shi the original ancestor ordered. Yes, Master. The 9 ancestors responded. Then, the 9 ancestors left. After the 9 ancestors left, the ancestor of the dawn took out a black light. This is the treasure he got from a treasure in Wukong Tianmen. Few people know what it is, but he does. Eternal ancestral light, one of the best treasures to assist in breaking through the half-step 6th layer primitive ancestor. With it, I have a 50% hope of entering the half-step 6th layer primitive ancestor realm. It's a pity that refining it is too time-consuming, but it doesn't matter, one day, I will be able to refine it and enter the half-step 6th realm. At that time, I will be able to rank on the peak level of the spiritual realm, and my disciples will enter the 5th realm. Ancestor, the combat power is almost invincible at the same level. My lineage is absolutely comparable to the main line in the 9 Lights Holy Sect. As for the Void Fang sect, we will definitely be madly suppressed by our Nine Lights sect. Supreme treasure. The 9 ancestors got the information from the avatar. Master asked me to avoid the endless primordial ancestor, would I be afraid of him? The 9 ancestors said coldly. It's fine if he doesn't meet, if he does, he must kill Yi Tian to prove that he is stronger. And so another time passed. During Yi Tian's period, he found some Taishi gold liquid, and he killed some of the holy sons of the 9 Lights Saint sect, and obtained some Taishi gold liquid. His third natal primordial control skill is about to collect what he needs. Too much gold. Finally on this day, Yi Tian used his copy talent to detect the existence of the 9 primordial ancestors. 9 ancestors have finally been found. This guy is the first holy son of the 9 Lights holy sect. He was ordinary at first, but after becoming the 3rd ancestor, he rose rapidly and could even threaten the 5th ancestor in the future. Therefore, the holy sect of Void Fang wanted to kill him. The sacred sect of 9 Lights must have prepared a lot of life-saving things for him, CJFJ, which is very difficult to kill. Yi Tian thought to himself. However, this 9 ancestors did not have any resurrection like extreme ancestry, so killing him would really kill him. Don't give this guy any hope of escaping, otherwise my true strength may be exposed, and I will go all out to kill him instantly, so that his incarnation will not have time to notify anyone. 1. Yi Tian muttered. Why do I feel palpitations? 1. The 9 ancestors frowned. He probed and found nothing. Afterwards, he deduced it again and found nothing. Unexpected, a golden light came across time and space, and the speed was too fast. The 9 ancestors were dumbfounded. What level of attack is this? It's too terrifying. In an instant, life-saving objects appeared on his body. However, under this golden light, many treasures shattered in an instant and could not be stopped at all. This is Yi Tian's supreme primordial control technique, endless golden light, how terrifying its attack power is. Pagoda of Will. The 9 original ancestors directly motivated the Pagoda of Will. 186 layers of will pagodas emerged, of which only 113 layers of will pagodas were inscribed with the ultimate pole, which was also his limit. However, the Pagoda of Will was opened, and it couldn't stop the blow at all. Puff! The endless golden light ripped apart all defenses, and finally hit a defensive holy technique of the 9 ancestors, the 9 Dragon Shield, which is a holy technique even better than the glazed holy cover. If it weren't for the full support of the 9 Lights holy sect, it would be impossible for him to practice this sacred art. The treasures and the price he needs to pay are too great. However, the 9 Dragons' shield could not hold Yi Tian's endless golden light, and was pierced by a single blow. Then, the original phoenix undead body of the 9 original ancestors played the last important role. Although it was still penetrated, it retained the hope of life. The 9 ancestors did not dare to fight with Yi Tian, and urged another life-saving object to make their speed exceed the limit dozens of times, and wanted to escape. However, Yi Tian exerted his infinite speed, leaping over in an instant, surpassing the speed of the 9 primordial ancestors. Endless ancestor. At this moment, the 9 ancestors finally recognized Yi Tian. He never expected Yi Tian's strength to be so terrifying, so he is still the 3rd level ancestor, and the top 4th level ancestor is not so powerful. Death to me. The 9 ancestors broke out a whole card left to him by the original ancestor of Chengxi, a pure explosive attack treasure, and released a black light to Yi Tian. However, hitting Yi Tian's endless light mask only caused a ripple. Then, Yi Tian took action from then on and cast endless golden light, covering the 9 original ancestors. This time, all the means of the 9 ancestors were unable to bear it any longer, and they were directly killed. Not bad. I was asked to shoot twice. Yi Tian has to admit that this 9 primordial ancestors are indeed very powerful, and their life-saving ability is very powerful. But unfortunately I met him. Chapter 2128 Endless Ancestors, Yudon and #039, T want to kill. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. This 9 ancestors actually collected more than 100 drops of Taishi gold liquid. Yi Tian was a little surprised. This guy has collected a lot of Taishi gold liquid, and now it's cheaper for him. Moreover, there are a lot of resource treasures on the 9 ancestors, and there are hundreds of treasures that even the 5 ancestors need. Yes, I made a lot of money this time, Yi Tian said with satisfaction. The Holy Door of Void Fang. Yi Tian immediately notified Feng Ming's ancestor. Elder Feng Ming, the 9 ancestors are dead. Yi Tian messaged. Swish, the original ancestor of Feng Ming appeared in front of Yi Tian in an instant, and said in shock, the ancestor of the 9 ancestors died. Killed by you? Yes, I got lucky and killed him. Yi Tian said. Okay, great, the original ancestor of Feng Ming said excitedly. Immediately, she deduced it, and it was true that she could not sense the breath of the 9 ancestors in the upper spirit realm, and his incarnation must have collapsed. This is enough to prove that the 9 ancestors are really dead. 9 Lights Holy Gate. The aura of the incarnation of the 9 ancestors disappeared, immediately attracting the attention of the ancestors of the dawn. He immediately came to the residence of the 9 ancestors. I can't sense the incarnation of the 9 gods, and the incarnation has disappeared, is it? The face of the ancestor of the morning sun was ugly. He is most worried about the fall of the 9 ancestors, and that is the loss of the entire 9 Lights Holy Sect. Impossible, who can kill the 9 ancestors of the 3 ancestors of the Supreme Treasure Land? No, they can't kill the 9. The ancestor of the dawn murmured. Use the 9 Soul Tower to confirm the life and death of the 9 ancestors. Dawn Saint Ancestor Road. As the peak powerhouse of the 5 original ancestors of the 9 Lights Holy Sect, he has a high status and is naturally qualified to use the 9 Soul Pagoda. Soon, he came to the 9 Soul Pagoda and used the 9 Soul Pagoda to determine the life and death of the 9 gods. And this matter quickly attracted the attention of the other 5 ancestors. Elder Chengxi, what happened? Why did you use the 9 Soul Pagoda? One by one the 5 ancestors asked. Something happened to the 9 gods. I will use the 9 Soul Tower to confirm his life and death, said the ancestor of the dawn. What? Something happened to Juzun. The complexion of the 5 ancestors changed. If they fell, the loss of the 9 Lights Holy Sect this time would be too great. Because Zhuguang Shunman has invested a lot of resources in the 9 ancestors, the price paid is too great. Boom. The ancestor of the morning light motivated the 9 Soul Pagoda. Through the connection between the 9 Soul Pagoda and the 9 original ancestors, it ran through the original Black Sea. No matter where the 9 original ancestors were hiding, they would be sensed by the 9 Soul Pagoda to confirm whether he was alive or not. However, no, still none. After a long time, the Dawn Patriarch finally determined that the 9 original ancestors had fallen. There is no longer the breath of the 9 ancestors in the world, he has completely fallen, and at the level of the 3 ancestors, he can't be resurrected at all. 9 statues, fallen, Dawn Saint Ancestor sighed. At this time, the expressions of the other 5 ancestors also changed greatly. The 9 are almost invincible among the triple primitive ancestors, who can kill him? This time, a few mysterious half-step 6th primitive ancestors sent some triple primitive ancestors in, could it be one of them? Quote. It is also possible that it is the endless ancestor of the Void Fang Holy Sect. This strength is very terrifying, and it is possible to kill the 9. As soon as the 9 gods die, they really die. This kind of disciple who has no will to clone should not let him enter the Supreme Treasure Land, stay in the Holy Gate of Zhuguang to cultivate, and cultivate until the original ancestor of the 5th layer, right? 1. In this death, all the training will be in vain. I said that it shouldn't be so vigorously cultivated. If it is not cultivated vigorously, the 9 gods will not dare to enter the Supreme Treasure Land this time. These 5 ancestors spoke one by one, and the words were full of regrets. The ancestor of the dawn was very annoyed, but he didn't know what to say and left. He is also very clear that the other 5 ancestors will not care too much about the fall of the 9 gods this time, they are just a pity for the resources paid by the 9 Lights Holy Sect. Even because of this fall, many 5 ancestors will still be dissatisfied with him. If his strength is not strong enough, far beyond the ordinary 5-layer ancestor, I am afraid that he will be angered by these guys now. A group of extremely stupid guys, waiting for me to step into the realm of the half-step 6th level ancestor, you will all regret it. Dawn Saint Ancestor secretly said. But he broke through to Baguang and must kill the endless ancestors of the Void Fang Holy Sect. In his opinion, the endless primordial ancestor has the greatest possibility to kill the 9 gods. It's just that there are regulations between the 5-layer holy gates, and the 5-layer ancestors are not allowed to shoot casually. And even if he is the existence of the peak of the 5th level ancestor, he would not dare to violate such regulations. After all, the original ancestors who made this regulation are those half-step 6th level ancestors. For flowers, but once he becomes the half-step 6-layer original ancestor, his strength will increase many times, so naturally he does not need to abide by this rule. Time passed slowly, and the resources inside the Supreme Treasure Land gradually became scarce. After all, there were many ancestors who entered here, and after so long, many resources were found. At this moment, the killings began to increase. Of course, no one dared to attack Yi Tian, but anyone who sensed Yi Tian's aura fled directly, for fear of being killed by Yi Tian later. During this period of time, the holy son and true disciple of Zhuguang holy sect were miserable, and many were killed by Yi Tian. Gradually, the number of their holy sons was only 7 or 8. This directly made the group of 5 ancestors of the 9 Lights Holy Gate extremely angry, even more angry than the death of the 9 gods. Point 0. After all, the death of the 9 gods has nothing to do with them, but if these holy sons die, they will not be able to obtain some resources, and the loss will be huge. Many of the original ancestors of the 9 Lights Sacred Sect went to the Void Fang sect to speak, and the atmosphere of the 2 fifth-fold sacred sects became tense. Endless ancestor, keep a low profile and stop killing. The original ancestor of Feng Ming reminded. Understood. Yi Tian nodded. You can't kill the original ancestors randomly, which makes Yi Tian's harvest speed slow. After all, if you kill a triple original ancestor, the harvest will increase sharply, which is much faster than collecting resources slowly. However, Yi Tian doesn't kill randomly, it doesn't mean that some people don't kill randomly. An extremely powerful 3-layered ancestor was slaughtering everywhere, and many holy sons fell one by one. This day, another holy son of Zhuguang Shengmen was killed, but the person who shot this time was not the original ancestor of the Endless, so the Zhuguang Shengmen could not find the Void Fang Shengmen. Of course, not only the 9 Lights Sacred Sect, but also other saint sons of the 5th Sacred Sect were killed. Although they are all clones, once the clone dies, the resources are gone. What a heavy loss. No, the holy sect of Void Fang asked Yi Tian to find the triple ancestor and kill him. Even if the opponent is a disciple of the half-step 6th-layer primitive ancestor, he must die. Yi Tian is naturally happy about this. After all, as long as he kills the other party, he can reap countless resources. Don't worry, wait for the other party to kill some more holy children, I'll take another shot. Yi Tian thought to himself. Although it is shameful to do so, no one will say anything about corpses. Chapter 2129 Returning to the Holy Gate of Void Fang, an amazing harvest. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. These holy sons of the upper spirit realm are too weak. Master also asked me to be careful, a group of ants can only be assigned to me to collect resources. After Chengguang Yuanzu casually killed a holy son, he mocked. He has comprehended 123 extreme extremes, and also condensed 286 layers of the Will Pagoda, as well as the genius who created the perfection level primordial control technique. He plans to use the resources obtained in the Supreme Treasure Land this time to raise the Will Pagoda to the 36th and 15th floor, and then break through to become the 4th level ancestor. As for engraving the 365-story Will Pagodas on the extreme pole, he has no such idea, it is not realistic. It is already very difficult for him to comprehend 123 extreme extremes, and it will take infinitely long years to comprehend one extreme extreme. Therefore, he gave up comprehending the ultimate pole. After leaving the Supreme Treasure Land this time, he is ready to break through to become the original ancestor of the 4th layer. And, 110, and with his harvest this time, the future cultivation resources will be available, and the cultivation speed will definitely be very fast. Hey, another holy son. The original ancestor of Chengguang sensed the breath of a triple ancestor and murmured. But suddenly, he trembled all over, feeling the danger of death. Swish, the triple primordial came across at a speed that surpassed his imagination. Then, he saw a touch of golden light running through his body. In an instant, his original ancestor's body was shattered, and he did not have the life-saving ability of the 9 ancestors. After all, he was just a clone. So, he was killed in one blow. And the person who shot was Yi Tian. I thought it was amazing, but this is the result. Yi Tian said in amazement, this is easier than killing the 9 ancestors. But thinking about it is right, after all, the 9 ancestors are the main body, and they have specially practiced a lot of life-saving secret techniques, and the Zhuguang Holy Sect has also given him a lot of life-saving things. And this mysterious triple ancestor is just a clone of the will. Naturally he has no life-saving ability, but his attack power is stronger than that of the 9 ancestors. Therefore, killing him is naturally much simpler than killing the 9 gods. This guy has robbed so many treasures. Yi Tian was shocked. How many triple primordial ancestors have been killed? I am afraid that even those true disciples have been hunted and killed by him. More than 300 drops of Taishi Jinye, plus the killing of many saints and true disciples during this period. Now I have gathered the Taishi Jinye required for the 4th birth control skill. Yi Tian said excitedly. If you continue to look for it, you may be able to gather the Taishi gold liquid needed for the 5th birth control skill before leaving. In addition to the Taishi Jinye, the resources on the ancestors of Chengguang were also terrifying, which directly caused Yi Tian's worth to skyrocket. Yes, this time the harvest is great, Yi Tian said with satisfaction. Somewhere in the original Black Sea. Damn, I was killed, my treasure. Chengguang Yuanzu was furious. He can't wait to go to the master to help him take revenge, but think about it carefully, because the master is definitely not willing, and it will even make the master unhappy. I must take revenge in the future, Chengguang Yuanzu said coldly. Afterwards, he went to the master. He wanted to ask for a little bit of Taishi Jinye, otherwise he wouldn't be able to condense the 2nd primal control skill. Years go by. After a long time, almost all the resources of this supreme treasure land have been scraped, and it is almost the time before the 5-layer holy gate. Then, they let go of the restrictions and let these 3-fold ancestors come out from the supreme treasure land, and then were taken away by their respective 5-fold ancestors in person. And this time, the original ancestor of Fengming and many 5 ancestors of the Void Fang holy sect came here. Even, the only half-step 6-layer original ancestor of the Void Fang sect, the Void Fang sacred ancestor also came. What, the holy ancestor Void Fang actually came in person. The 5 ancestors were extremely surprised. But soon, they knew why. It must be because he was worried that the original ancestor of the 5 layers would not obey the rules, so he made a move on Yi Tian. After all, Yi Tian has killed too many holy sons and true disciples this time, and the resources on his body are so terrifying. Perhaps the half-step 6th level primordial ancestor doesn't care about these resources, but if Yi Tian obtains these resources, the growth rate will be faster, and he can also solidify several natal primordial control skills, and becoming the 5th level primordial ancestor in the future is almost 100% thing. Therefore, the holy ancestor of the Void Fang is here. Finally out, Yi Tian came out of the supreme treasure land and was immediately moved by the original ancestor of Fengming. At this time, Yi Tian clearly sensed that the eyes of the 5 ancestors were staring at him, as if to tear him apart, which made him tremble. After all, the gap between his current strength and that of the 5 ancestors is really too big. Endless Ancestor, this is the sect master, the holy ancestor of Void Fang. Feng Yuanzu introduced. I have seen the sect master. Yi Tian said respectfully. He naturally knew that this sect master was the founder of the Void Fang sect, and the only half-step 6-layer ancestor of the Void Fang sect, and he was not weak among the half-step 6-layer ancestors, otherwise it is also impossible to create a 5-fold holy gate and compete with the other 5-fold holy gates. These characters are all working hard to attack the original ancestor of the 6th layer, and they don't care about many things. Unexpectedly, he came here today, as if to protect him. Let's go back. The holy ancestor Void Fang said lightly. Yes, many 5 ancestors responded. Immediately, Yi Tian returned to the Void Fang sacred gate with many 5 original ancestors. After returning to the Void Fang holy gate, he was truly relieved. Until now, these treasures on his body really belonged to him. Hall of Void Tooth. A group of holy sons and true disciples came here. However, this time, only 13 saint sons, 6 true disciples, and the clones of the others have all perished. Take out the treasures on the list you got. The original ancestor of Fengming said. Immediately, the holy sons and true disciples took out their harvests. Some have only obtained a few treasures on the list, while others have obtained dozens of items in varying quantities. Finally it was Yi Tian's turn. And the other holy sons are also very curious, how many treasures on the list that Yi Tian has found that are valuable to the 5 ancestors. Wow, each treasure was taken out by Yi Tian. 10 pieces. 5,900 pieces. 1,000 pieces. 5,300 treasures. The original ancestor of Fengming took a deep breath. These are all valuable treasures to the 5th layer ancestor of her level, but Yi Tian has obtained 5,300 pieces, which must not have been found. Most of them should have killed other saints, true disciples, and thus obtained so many treasures. At this time, Fengming Yuan ancestor said, Endless Yuan ancestor, you have found so many treasures, which can be counted as contribution points. Yes, Yi Tian agreed. Calculated as a contribution value, although it may not necessarily give the original value, at least it will not be given to the Void Fang Holy Gate in vain. These contribution points can buy the treasures you need, and enter some rare cultivation treasures to exchange for various items. In short, the value is too high. Afterwards, Yi Tian returned to his residence and began to organize this harvest. Chapter 2130 Breakthrough, The Four Original Ancestors. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. The first is Taishi Gold Liquid, a total of more than 1000 drops, enough for ETN to solidify 4 more primordial control skills, plus the first primordial master control skill does not require Taishi Gold Liquid. Therefore, if he breaks through to become the original ancestor of the 4th layer, he can have 5 primordial control skills of natal life, and these 5 primordial control skills of natal life are all supreme primordial control skills. In addition to these Taishi Gold Liquid, other resources are also extremely rich, among which there are many treasures that are of great use to the half-step 5-layer primitive ancestor, and the number of them has reached an incomparably terrifying level. Compared with this time, the resources ETN obtained before were simply negligible. Even the resources obtained in the end of the cloud are far from being comparable to this time. There are too many resources. Even if I consume a lot of resources, maybe I can gather all the resources needed for the 4-layer primitive ancestor realm. Yi Tian murmured. It took him a long time to sort out these resources one by one. The next step is to continue to create the supreme original control technology. He has only created 3 supreme primordial control skills, and he still needs to create 2 supreme primal control skills before he can attack the realm of the quadruple primordial ancestor. Therefore, he is not in a hurry to break through. In the years that followed, Yi Tian slowly comprehended the creation of the supreme primordial control skill. With his understanding and background, he could probably create a supreme primordial control skill in about 10,000 yuan. This time, he is going to create a domain-like supreme primal control technique, which has the effects of suppression, restraint, and group attack. In the blink of an eye, the years of the 10,000-year-old Yuan era passed. On this day, Yi Tian created such a supreme primordial control technique. Once this primordial control technique is displayed, it will turn into a field of black light, and the weak primordial ancestors will be directly crushed. This effect is similar to the effect of the core area of Cloudless End. Yi Tian named this supreme primal control technique as the Endless Black Domain. Next, Yi Tian continued to create the 5th supreme primal control technique, this time to create an augmented primal control technique that could enhance the power of other primal control techniques. It takes a little longer to create this original control technique. Years go by. Yi Tian spent more than 20,000 yuan epochs this time, and only then did he create the supreme primal control technique that met his own requirements, the Endless Primordial Body. Once it enters the state of Endless Primordial Body, the effects of other primordial control techniques will skyrocket directly. Moreover, the Endless Original Body can also be merged with the original body of Zhou Tian, bursting out a more powerful formidable power. Finally done, Yi Tian breathed a sigh of relief. Now he can finally go to the realm of the 4-layer primitive ancestor. And he also inquired about it, and many holy children have broken through to the realm of the 4th ancestor, and the number of holy children of the 3rd ancestor level has been greatly reduced. On this day, Yi Tian applied to break through the 4-fold primitive ancestor. As a result, the high level of the holy sect of Void Fang opened the primordial Montenegro for Yi Tian. Primordial Black Mountain is a mountain on the primordial Black Sea. It was not originally a mountain, but the 5-fold original ancestors used the magic circle to gather countless primordial Black Sea energies together, and continuously compressed and condensed into a mountain. Moreover, the original Black Sea energy has been transformed into a level that is very easy to absorb. Therefore, if you hit the quadruple ancestor in the original Montenegro, you can quickly absorb enough energy to complete the breakthrough, and you can quickly stabilize the realm. Primitive Montenegro. Yi Tian came here through a portal. As soon as he came here, he sensed an incomparably rich energy, and it was too pure, even purer than the energy of the original Black Sea. This is energy that has been purified countless times. Originally, Montenegro had a space dedicated to retreating to the 4-layer realm, so after Yi Tian chose a space, he began to attack the 4-layer ancestor. The 3-level primordial ancestors attack the 4-level primordial ancestors, only need to cultivate to reach the peak of the 3-level primordial ancestors, comprehend the 9 extreme extremes, and create a primordial control technique. The reason why it is required to create a primal control skill is naturally to solidify the primordial control skill of life. Consolidating the original control skills of the original life is the key to breakthrough, and it must be solidified on the body of the original ancestor. Yi Tian muttered. And Yi Tian's body is the body of the original Zhou Tian. Soon, Yi Tian motivated the body of the original Zhou Tian, and then solidified the first supreme primordial control technique on the body of the original Zhou Tian. Since it is the first supreme primordial control skill, it does not require Taishi gold liquid. Boom. One after another, the extreme poles gathered together and turned into the original control technique of endless golden light, and then solidified it on the original Jodian body according to the breakthrough method given by the Void Fang Holy Gate. Time passed slowly, and the first primordial control skill was finally solidified. At this time, Yi Tian felt saturated, and it seemed that he could only solidify this primordial control skill. However, he still has Taishi Jinye. Then, Yi Tian took out 365 drops of Taishi gold liquid and swallowed it directly. As the energy of Taishi Jinye radiated out, the sense of saturation disappeared. Yi Tian immediately began to solidify the second original control skill, Endless Extreme 110 Speed. Finally, when the 365 drops of Taishi gold liquid were exhausted, the Endless Extreme Speed was completely solidified on the body of the original Zhou Tian, and turned into the second original control skill of the original life. Start to solidify the third natal primordial control skill. Yi Tian muttered. After taking another 365 drops of Taishi gold liquid, he began to solidify the third original control technique of Life Endless Mask. Finally, the third natal primordial control technique was solidified successfully. After only solidifying the three primordial control skills, Yi Tian felt that his cultivation was about to become unsteady, and he was about to break through completely. Therefore, he forcibly suppressed the cultivation base and continued to solidify the fourth original control technique. After solidifying the final control technology domain, I am afraid of the original body. After the 5 sect supreme primordial control skills were all solidified, Yi Tian's primordial Zhou Tian body could no longer be suppressed. At the same time, Yi Tian's extreme will, the power of the original ancestor, and the body of the original ancestor were all skyrocketing, madly absorbing the energy of the original Montenegro. Boom! Endless energy poured in, helping Yi Tian to complete his breakthrough. After a long time, Yi Tian's cultivation has officially entered the initial stage of the 4-layered ancestor, and it has gradually stabilized. Chapter 2131 Pole Quenching Technique. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. Finally become the original ancestor of the fourfold. Yi Tian said excitedly. In Shangling Yuan, the most powerful 4-layer Tianmen is only the 4th layer original ancestor, and only the 5th layer Holy Gate has the 5th layer original ancestor. The 4th layer primitive ancestor is already a very powerful existence, and his strength is also an extremely powerful existence in the 4th layer primitive ancestor, almost invincible. Last time in the Supreme Treasure Land, I obtained too many resources. The cultivation resources are enough. I can quickly improve the cultivation base, and when I am promoted to the peak of the 4th level ancestor, maybe I will be eligible to compete with the weaker 5th level ancestors. The original ancestors contended. 1 inch. Yi Tian muttered. In the following years, Yi Tian worked hard to improve his cultivation base and had enough resources, so his cultivation base improved very fast. Certainly, after reaching the quadruple original ancestor, although the will of the pole can be improved, the will pagoda is fixed, and there is no way to continue to increase the number of layers of the will pagoda, but the will can be tempered again and again, the quality of the will pagoda can be improved, and the will pagoda can be getting stronger. It's a pity that I don't know how to become the original ancestor of the 5th layer. Yi Tian secretly said. In the upper spiritual realm, countless 4th level ancestors do not know how to become 5th level ancestors. Regarding the inheritance of this aspect, the 5th level Holy Gate controls very strictly, and it is not allowed to spread. Even the Holy Son of the Holy Sect of the Void Fang cannot obtain this kind of inheritance before he becomes the peak of the fourfold primitive ancestor. Of course, how to become a half-step 5-layer original ancestor, the Holy Gate of Void Fang can still be exchanged for such inheritance. And Yi Tian quickly exchanged his contribution value for the inheritance of how to become a half-step 5-layer ancestor. Pole Quenching Technique. Anyone who wants to be promoted to the half-step 5th-layer primitive ancestor must temper his will pagoda more than 9 times, and this process requires the extreme tempering technique. The pole quenching technique is suitable for every quadruple primordial ancestor. You only need to use the pole quenching technique to cooperate with your own extreme poles. You can form your own pole quenching technique, so as to temper the will pagoda. 9 times of tempering is the minimum requirement. As long as you reach 9 times or more, you can go to the half-step 5-layer primordial realm. However, the half-step 5-layer primitive ancestor who has only been tempered 9 times does not actually increase his strength very much. With Yi Tian's current strength, it is enough to kill such a half-step 5-layer ancestor. It seems that tempering the will pagoda for more than 9 times is one of the conditions for becoming the 5th level ancestor, but what are the other conditions? I have to wait until I become the peak of the 4th level ancestor before I can exchange it from the Void Fang Holy Gate to such a thing. Secret Heritage W. Yi Tian thought to himself. Of course, Yi Tian is still a long way from becoming the original ancestor of the 5th layer. Moreover, it would take him countless years to temper the pagoda of will alone. After all, he didn't want to temper it only 9 times, but wanted to temper the pagoda of will more times. With the assistance of countless resources, Yi Tian's cultivation base is gradually approaching the middle stage of the 4th layer primitive ancestor. During this period of time, the upper spirit realm was also very calm, and nothing major happened. On the other hand, in the world of the world, something related to Yi Tian happened. Boundary of the world, the source realm C began to transform. Before, he used a set of formations to transform the source realm C. In addition, he has now become the original ancestor of the 4 layers, which has greatly promoted the improvement of the origin of the world, and the natural change of the source realm C is even greater. Today, the Sea of Origin realm contains countless auras of the extreme path, and its cultivation environment is far beyond the real river of the extreme path, which is comparable to or even surpasses the deep sea of the extreme path. And the source realm C also gave birth to a lot of powerhouses, of which the half-step perfect controller did not know how many were born. Even Yi Tian's master 10 elements ancestor during the eternal controller period was also trained by Yi Tian, and has now reached the realm of the perfect controller of the real realm. Of course, the human race has also become incomparably powerful now. It is the first race in the source realm. There are many perfect controllers, and his relatives have been promoted to the realm of the original ancestors. At present, several first-level primitive ancestors and dozens of pseudo-primitive ancestors have been born in the Sea of Origin, second only to the ruins of eternity. In addition, Yi Tian sits in the source of the sea, which makes the reputation of the source of the sea very loud, even surpassing the real river of the extreme realm. That is to say, the Sea of Origin is still very young, otherwise, after a long time, it will definitely surpass the eternal ruins and the true river of extreme Tao. The transformation of the original Sea of Origin has been successful, and it is more suitable for cultivation. It seems that in the future, even if the Sea of Origin does not have my support, many strong people will be born. Yi Tian muttered, and as he continues to break through, Jiejia will gradually improve. As long as the original ancestors are born from generation to generation, and a large number of triple primitive ancestors are born, Jiejia can also be promoted to the middle original domain. However, this step is too difficult, unless he is willing to pay countless resources to cultivate a large number of triple primordial ancestors, otherwise it is too difficult to become a triple primordial ancestor just by relying on these primordial ancestors to break through. Yi Tian will cultivate the triple primordial ancestor, but he will not cultivate others. He will only cultivate Wu Dao Pagoda, the 10 elements ancestor, several senior brothers and sisters, and the powerhouses of the human race, and cultivate them into the triple primordial ancestor. As for practitioners who have nothing to do with him, he will not cultivate them. This day, the unbounded Lord, the unbounded ancestor, came to visit Yi Tian, the origin of the world, the origin of the world. Endless ancestor, the unbounded ancestor respectfully said. Unbounded ancestor, what are you looking for from me? Yi Tian asked. At this time, Wu Ji ancestor said embarrassedly, I'm here to ask you for a favor. I offended a triple sect, and the supreme elder of that sect was a new 4th level ancestor, and he personally shot and killed him. My clone. The last time I sent the clone of my will to the original realm of the spirit, but he found it again and killed my clone again. If this goes on, I can't go to the original realm of the spirit again. Therefore, I can ask the endless ancestors to help you, mediate it, and resolve the conflict. Quote. Oh, why did he want to kill you? Yi Tian asked curiously. The unbounded primitive ancestor is just an ordinary 3-level primitive ancestor, and it will actually provoke a 4-level primordial ancestor to keep killing his clones. Wu Ji Yuanzu smiled bitterly and said, it's not a deep hatred, it's just that I killed the will clone of the granddaughter of the fourfold Yuan in a secret realm in the upper spirit realm, and robbed a chance. This kind of resource fight is normal. Who knew that the 4-layer primitive ancestor actually shot himself, and seeing that I have no background, this is the will that kills my will clone again and again. Is that all it takes? Yi Tian said, yes, on this matter, the original ancestor, you are a disciple of the 4th heavenly sect after all, can you help to mediate it? Wu Ji obtained. Yuanzu asked for help. I am now a disciple of the 4th level. Yi Tian said. The unbounded ancestor was startled. Could it be that Yi Tian was expelled from the fourth heavenly gate? But the next sentence directly shocked the unbounded ancestor. I have joined the Void Fang sacred gate in advance. Yi Tian said. He became the holy sect and son of the Void Fang, and the fifth layer saint sect knew about it, but the little people like Wuji Yuanzu naturally didn't know, and he didn't even know what disciples and big figures there were in the fifth layer saint sect. The unbounded ancestor, you have joined the fifth layer sacred door Void Fang sacred sect. That will definitely help me mediate this conflict. Unbounded ancestor said excitedly. A disciple of the fifth level holy sect is not something that the triple level sect can offend at all. Afterwards, the clone of the unbounded ancestor went to the upper spirit realm again, and Yi Tian took him to the triple sect to help him mediate. After all, if it wasn't for the unbounded ancestor, he wouldn't be able to enter the upper spirit realm, so let's help with this little favor. Chapter 2132 Resolved, the middle stage of the four original ancestors. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. 9 Desolate Sword Sect. This is one of the triple sects, and it is also the top triple sect. It has a quadruple ancestor, thousands of triple ancestors, and hundreds of thousands of second ancestors. As for the first level ancestors, the number has reached tens of millions. For Wuji Yuanzu, this is a behemoth. Even if the quadruple primitive ancestor does not take action, he can easily crush him by sending a top triple primitive ancestor. On the way here, Wuji Yuanzu was very nervous. Although he believed in Yi Tian's identity and strength, the nervousness in his heart could not be concealed. Soon, the 9 Desolation Sword Sect is here. Boom. An aura of the 4-layered ancestor emerged, locking the unbounded ancestor. Under this breath, the unbounded ancestor seems to be fixed, and it is difficult to even think about it. The strength gap between the two is too great. But soon, the breath disappeared. Just because Yi Tian shot. At this time, the White Bone ancestor, the 4th level ancestor of the 9 Desolate Sword Sect, looked at Yi Tian and was shocked, feeling the great danger. Who are you, please? White Bone ancestor asked. At this time, Yi Tian 110 directly threw out his holy child token, the holy sect of the Void Fang, the infinite ancestor. Meet the endless sun. The original ancestor of the bones trembled and bent over. The holy son of the holy gate of Void Fang, this is a big man he cannot reach. Although the 9 Desolate Sword Sect is not an affiliated force of the Void Fang Holy Sect, nor is it qualified to be an affiliated force, it is within the radiation range of the Void Fang Sect. He has now become the original ancestor of the 4th layer, so he also wants to develop the 9 Desolation Sword Sect into a 4th layer of heaven. However, without the support of the Holy Sect of the Void Fang, the 9 Desolation Sword Sect would never want to become the 4th heavenly sect. Therefore, he naturally did not dare to offend the disciples of the Holy Sect of the Void Fang. Moreover, he has heard of the endless primordial ancestor. Although the infinite primitive ancestor is a new saint, he is too famous in the circle of the fourfold primordial ancestor. Today, the original ancestor is known as the first son of the Supreme Spirit, and he has killed many holy children in seconds. Even the 9 ancestors who have been famous for countless years in the original realm have truly died in the hands of the original ancestor. This is the real killing, not the killing of the will clone. Now, looking at the breath of the boundless primordial ancestor, he has already CJFJ advanced to the realm of the 4th primordial ancestor. It can be said that Yi Tian can kill him countless times now. The unbounded ancestor is my friend. I heard that there is some conflict between you two. Yi Tian asked. When Bai Ji Yuan heard this, he was so frightened that he quickly explained, Lord Endless Sun, it's just a misunderstanding. I am willing to compensate Wu Ji Yuan for the loss. Immediately, Bai Ji Yuan ancestor compensated for some losses to Wu Ji Yuan ancestor, for fear that Wu Ji Yuan ancestor would not want it. At this time, the unbounded ancestor was stunned. Is it so easy to do? Moreover, Yi Tian is the holy son of the holy gate of Void Fang. Holy crap, not an ordinary disciple. Although he doesn't have much knowledge, he also knows what the concept of the holy son of the 5th layer holy sect is. A disciple of the 5th layered holy sect is almost the same as the sect master of the 4th layered heavenly sect. For him, this is definitely a big man, and a big man that he can't match. Unexpectedly, Yi Tian became such a big man in a short period of time. Shock, can't believe it. Okay, this is the end of it. Yi Tian said, thank you, Lord Endless Sun. The original ancestor of the bones respectfully said. Immediately, Yi Tian left with the unbounded ancestor. At this moment, a woman at the level of the 3rd level ancestor said with an unhappy face, Grandpa, why are you imprisoning me and not letting me speak? You are also the ancestor of the 4th level ancestor, why are you afraid of that holy sun? What do you know? Bai Ji Yuan ancestor was furious. The holy sun can destroy R9 Desolation Sword Sect with just one finger, and he will not have the power to control R9 Desolation Sword Sect. Did the Desolate Sword Sect perish because of your trivial matter? Starting today, the 9 Desolation Sword Sect must not leave the 9 Desolation Sword Sect within the 100 million yuan era. Grandfather. The woman was stunned and begged. However, the original ancestor of the bones ignored him, the granddaughter he usually loved the most. It's really that he was really frightened this time. The unbounded ancestor, who thought he had no background, actually moved out of the endless ancestor of the Void Fang Holy Sect. This is the most terrifying person he has provoked. Endless ancestor, thank you this time. The unbounded ancestor thanked him. Okay, I'll only help you this time, next time you can solve it yourself, don't do things in my name. Yi Tian said. Endless, I understand. Unbounded ancestor nodded. Afterwards, Yi Tian returned to the Void Fang Holy Gate. For him, the matter of the unbounded ancestor was just a small episode. Another long period of time has passed. With the assistance of a lot of resources, Yi Tian's cultivation has finally been raised to the realm of the middle stage of the 4th ancestor. Fortunately, I have obtained a huge amount of resources in the Supreme Treasure Land, otherwise my cultivation would not have been able to rise to the middle stage of the 4th layer primitive ancestor so quickly. Yi Tian murmured. After breaking through to the middle stage of the 4th layer primitive ancestor, his strength has been greatly improved. And during this period of time, he was also comprehending the extreme way. Although he can't comprehend the new extreme way, or it is meaningless to comprehend the new extreme way, he can continue to comprehend the original extreme way to the real extreme. Extreme Mountain. Yi Tian's will clone has been practicing and comprehending here, and one extreme has been raised to the extreme by him. Although this kind of improvement does not increase the strength too much, if all the extremes are increased to the extreme, then his overall strength will still be improved. This day, when Yi Tian was cultivating, Feng Ming's original ancestor sent a message to him and asked him to attend a meeting. This time, all the 4 original ancestors will participate. Soon, Yi Tian came to the Hall of Void Fangs, and the Holy Son of the Fourfold Primordial Ancestor also came here. This time, it was not the original ancestor of Feng Ming who presided over the meeting. The original ancestor of Feng Ming is only an elder of the late stage of the 5th level original ancestor, and the elder who presided over the meeting this time was the elder of the peak of the 5th level original ancestor, the Tianya Holy Ancestor. This elder Tianya is the younger brother of the Holy Ancestor Void Fang. Strictly speaking, the original founders of the Void Fang Sacred Gate were the Void Fang Sacred Ancestor, the Heaven Tooth Sacred Ancestor and the Dragon Tooth Sacred Ancestor. Possessing the realm of the peak of the 5-layer original ancestor, he has a high status in the holy sect of the Void Fang, and is not comparable to the original ancestor of Feng Ming. This time, it turned out that the ancestor of Tianya came to support the meeting. It should be a big event. Not only Yi Tian thinks this way, but other holy sons also think this way. Chapter 2133 The Original Golden Domain, The Original Golden Beads. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. The holy ancestor Tianya looked at the many holy sons and said, I called you here this time to inform you of a major event, and it is actually an opportunity. Do you know why there are so many ancestors of the 4th level, while the original ancestors of the 5th level are so many? So few ancestors. Inheritance. Said a saint. The 5th level Holy Gate controls the inheritance. This is a well-known thing. Many 4-level ancestors peak powerhouses do not know how to attack the 5th level ancestors, so naturally they have no way to break through. Wrong. Tianya Holy Ancestor said. Inheritance is indeed one aspect, but it is not an important factor. Many 4th-level heavenly gates may have obtained a complete inheritance secretly, but they dare not reveal it, but they still cannot be born. The 5th-level ancestor mainly involves a resource. If there is no such resource, then the success rate of becoming the 5th-level ancestor is only 1%. Of course, your chances of hitting the 5th-level ancestor will be very high. The original control skills of Xiao Yuanyuan's original control are transformed into the original control skills of the original life, and the hope of these 4-level ancestors becoming the 5th-level ancestors is 10%. Of course, if you break through with the true perfection level primordial control technique, the chance of hitting the 5th-level primordial ancestor is 20%. It is rumored that the 4th-level primordial ancestor who broke through with the supreme primal control technique will have a 30% chance of hitting the 5th-level primordial ancestor in the future. The second natal primal control skill can also be increased by half. If you master another natal primal control skill, the success rate will increase by half. However, the additional success rate will not exceed 20% at most. Take the supreme primal in terms of control skills. Even if such a quadruple ancestor has multiple solidified primordial control skills, and they are all solidified by the supreme primal control skills, the success rate is only 50% at most. 1. So tough. Yi Tian was surprised. He has solidified the primordial control skills into the primordial control skills of the original life, and there are still 5 primal control skills of the original life. According to the ancestor of Tianya, he has only a 50% chance of success at most. Of course, his success rate is quite high compared to other quadruple ancestors. After all, the ordinary peak powerhouse of the 4th-layer primitive ancestor has only a 1% chance of success, and the ordinary Saint Son has only a 10% chance. What? I only have a 10% chance of waiting. A Holy Son was shocked. Is it so difficult to become the 5th ancestor? However, when one thinks of the number of Holy Sons and the number of the original ancestors of the Void Fang Holy Sect, it is true that only a very small number of holy children can hope to become the original ancestors of the 5th level. At present, most of the Holy Sons of the Void Fang Holy Sect in the past are only half-step 5-layer primitive ancestors, and can only be used as elders of branch lines. The number of such half-step 5-layer primitive ancestors is almost comparable to the number of 5-layer primitive ancestors. Their talents and aptitudes are not bad, and there is no lack of inheritance, but unfortunately they can't become the original ancestor of the 5th layer. Now it seems that if there are no special resources, it is indeed difficult to become the original ancestor of the 5 layers. At this time, the holy ancestor Tianya said, the treasure involved this time is called primordial gold bead. A primordial gold bead can increase the success rate by 1/10,000th, and it is not capped. That is to say, if you have enough, the original golden pearl can be 100% the original ancestor of the 5th layer. Of course, the premise is that you have met all the requirements and are qualified to attack the original ancestor of the 5th layer. If you don't even meet the standard, naturally you can't succeed. 1-inch 0. Primary gold beads. One has a 1/10,000th increase in the success rate. That is to say, if you find 10,000 primordial gold beads, you can become a 100% original ancestor. The many saints were very excited. In particular, those saint sons who have become the peak of the 4th-layer primitive ancestor and who are qualified to attack the 5th-layer primitive ancestor are extremely eager to obtain the primitive golden beads. Yi Tian asked, Lord Tianya's sacred ancestor, is this chance only involving the 4th-level ancestors, or are those half-step 5th-level ancestors also allowed to go? The ancestor of Tianya looked at Yi Tian and said with a smile, yes, only the ancestor of the 4th layer can go, and the ancestor of the 5th layer cannot go. As for the reason, it is very simple, that is the rule, and there is no other reason. Next, let me talk about the opportunity this time. Unlike the last time, the Supreme Treasure Land is not only participated in by us, but the entire Taeguyuan region will participate, so the competition is fierce. To be honest, I don't have much hope for you guys, but this is an opportunity anyway. If you don't participate, it will be a pity. If you are lucky, it will be a good thing to snatch some original gold beads. It is worth mentioning that you can come out from that place at any time, so there is still hope to bring out some treasures. As long as you feel that the harvest is enough, you can leave directly. The Taikuyuan region boundary, what place is this? Yi Tian and many holy sons are a little puzzled, only a few holy sons know the meaning of this title. Seeing the doubts of many holy sons, the ancestor of Tianya said, you may not know much about the division of boundaries, let's put it this way, you can enter the original Black Sea, and no matter how you travel, even if you travel through endless years, you can only it is within the bounds of the primordial region. There are many regions within the bounds of the primordial region, and if it does not reach the 6-fold original ancestor, it is impossible to leave the bounds of the region. Finally, beyond the bounds, what other regions are there? Realm, I only know the name, and I don't know much about other areas. Therefore, I can't give you many answers. But for the Taikuyuan area, I can give you some information. There are 93 high-level original regions in the primordial realm. As for the number of medium and low-level original regions, I will not introduce them. Among them, Shengeling original region is one of the high original regions, and it is not a very powerful high primordial domain, it can only be regarded as an intermediate level. The high primordial domain will occupy the territory and divide the primordial Black Sea. Therefore, if there are no special circumstances, you want to go to other high primordial areas through the primordial Black Sea. The sight will be blocked by an invisible barrier. Perhaps, if you like to explore the original Black Sea, you may have encountered such a barrier. Only the 5-layer primitive ancestors can break this barrier and play in other high-level original areas. It is this barrier. You don't know the information of other high origins. This is also to prevent the original ancestors in your own territory from running to join other high origins, resulting in the passage of genius. Single quote. For flowers, regional boundaries, 73 high original regions. At this moment, Yi Tian knew how big the original Black Sea was and how weak he was. At present, he is not considered strong in the upper spirit realm, and if it is placed in the entire primordial realm, it is even less worth mentioning. But the more he knew about the size of the world, the more excited he became, and the stronger his inner desire for strength. Point 0. After introducing these, Tianya Yuan ancestor said, "This time, the entire Taiku Yuan region is going to open an area that has nurtured the golden pearl of the original region. All the 4-level ancestors whose strength reaches the standard can enter this area, looking for primordial gold beads and other resources, and they can come out at any time. But once they come out, they are not allowed to enter. For you 4-layer primordial ancestors, this time is an opportunity, but the fight will be very serious. If you are not careful, your clones will be killed. You must know that the upper spirit realm is not strong, and you are naturally not strong. There are 6 ancestors in the primordial realm, and the disciples of those 6 ancestors one by one is very enchanting. Some even comprehend 200 extreme extremes, and broke through more than 200 extreme extremes to become the quadruple primordial ancestor, currently at the peak of the quadruple primordial. Moreover, some quadruple primordial, the holy son of the peak of the ancestors, is only 1 step away from the half-step 5th layer. After entering, they can immediately break through to the half-step 5th layer original ancestor, and their strength skyrockets. In this way, they conform to the rules and are allowed stay in that area. And that area is called the primordial golden territory. The opening date of the primordial golden territory is after the 30,000 primordial territory era. During this time, you should try your best to improve your cultivation base. Especially the holy son who has just been promoted to the 4th level primordial ancestor. If you can't improve your cultivation quickly, maybe you won't even be able to enter the golden territory. After all, you have to pass the strength test after entering. After all, there are too many quadruple ancestors in the primordial territory, so naturally it is impossible to put them all in. After Tianya's saint ancestor finished speaking, he asked many holy sons to ask questions, and he answered them one by one. After a long time, the many saints no longer had any doubts, so they were asked to sign up to see whether they could really enter the golden domain of the original realm. If you don't sign up, the holy sect of Void Fang will not take it to participate in the strength assessment of the original Jinyu, and there will be no corpse even a chance. Chapter 2134 Crazy Improvement, the peak of the 4 original ancestors. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Yi Tian naturally signed up. Although he has a 50% chance of becoming the original ancestor of the 5th layer, who doesn't want a higher chance? Therefore, he naturally wants to obtain more primordial gold beads. Not only did he sign up, but all the other holy sons signed up. I won't say whether I can enter the original Jinyu, but I will sign up first. If I enter the original Jinyu and get the benefits, that's a big chance. Certainly. This time, it's not just their holy sons, but the deacons and true disciples of the 4th level ancestor peak may also sign up. Although some powerhouses of the 4th level ancestor peak are not holy children, their understanding of the extreme extremes is not much, but if after cultivating for countless years, it is possible to master some trump cards, such as top-notch sacred arts, and there may be hope to rival the weaker holy son. It's like this batch of newly promoted saints, whose cultivation base has not yet been promoted to the peak of the 4th level ancestors, really may not be able to beat those old-fashioned quadruple level peak ancestors. After 30,000 Yuan era, 110, the primordial golden territory is about to open. My cultivation is still in the middle stage of the 4th level primitive ancestor, and I have to speed up my cultivation. Yi Tian secretly said. Before he kept improving his cultivation, he used relatively common resources, and he kept many of the extremely precious treasures that could greatly improve resources. After all, he was not in a hurry to break through the cultivation base before, but now he can no longer keep it, and he must improve his cultivation base as soon as possible. In the following years, Yi Tian ramped up his cultivation frantically, consuming all the resources that he cherished. With the passage of time, Yi Tian's cultivation continued to rise and skyrocket. Finally, after the 10,000-year-old era, his cultivation level has been upgraded to the late stage of the 4th level primitive ancestor, and the resources spent on it are resources that ordinary quadruple level ancestors can't imagine. There are still 20,000 Yuan era years left. I'm afraid I still can't raise the cultivation base to the peak realm of the 4th ancestor. Yi Tian frowned. If you don't reach the peak realm of the 4-layered ancestor, you will suffer a complete loss. He does not dare to underestimate the other 4-layered ancestors in the primordial realm region. Among them, there are definitely existences like the 9 ancestors. If the family enters the original golden territory, they directly break through to the half-step 5-layered original ancestor realm. The strength may really surpass him. Therefore, he must raise his cultivation base to the peak of the 4th level ancestor, at least not weaker than that in terms of cultivation base. This day, the original ancestor of Feng Ming informed him that the Holy Gate of Void Fang was going to let him enter a place to practice. It seems that the Holy Sect of the Void Fang is preparing to temporarily train me and improve my strength. Yi Tian thought to himself. Soon, Yi Tian came to a secret time and space in the Void Fang Holy Gate, where he saw a long river of purple gold. The figure of the original ancestor of Feng Ming appeared, pointing to this long purple gold river channel. This is made of many precious resources, and it is the most suitable for the ancestors to improve their cultivation. Zijin Cheng is mainly to improve your cultivation. You can cultivate more than 10,000 Yuan eras here, and with your own resources, you should be able to improve your cultivation to the peak of the 4th level primitive ancestor. Many thanks to the original ancestor of Feng Ming. Yi Tian thanked. Go. 1. Feng Ming's original ancestor said. Yes. Yi Tian flew into the interior of the purple gold river and felt that his body was cheering, madly absorbing the energy of the purple gold river. And soon, several holy children came one after another, all of them in the late stage of the 4th level original ancestor, and they were only one step away from breaking through to the peak of the 4th level original ancestor. With this purple gold river, they can at least be promoted to the peak of the 4-layer original ancestor. Boom! Countless pure energy poured into Yi Tian's body and was absorbed and refined by him to improve his cultivation. Coupled with his incomparably cherished resources, the speed of cultivation is incomparably fast. Gradually, the 10,000 Yuan era has passed. Finally, on this day, Yi Tian's cultivation broke through again, reaching the peak of the 4th level ancestor. Breakthrough, the next step is the half-step 5-layer original ancestor realm. Yi Tian said excitedly, if you want to upgrade to the half-step 5-fold original ancestor realm, you must temper the will pagoda more than 9 times, and it is very difficult to temper once. You need to use the extreme tempering technique to temper the will pagoda thousands of times, until you touch the one in the dark. When the shackles and it is difficult to continue refining, this means that the limit has been reached. Break the limit and complete the first tempering. At this time, you can proceed to the second tempering. Moreover, tempering the pagoda of will is also equal to tempering the will of the extreme, which will make the will of the extreme stronger and stronger, and its own strength will naturally become stronger and stronger. It is not very difficult to become a half-step 5-layer original ancestor. It only requires the extreme tempering technique to slowly break through. It is just a matter of time. For this level, the more extreme poles you comprehend, the better the effect of pole quenching. However, the more layers of the will pagoda, the more the will of the extreme way than other ancestors, so overall, the tempering speed will not be much faster. Just like Yi Tian owns the 365-layer will pagoda, he needs to temper the 365-layer will pagoda at the same time, which is naturally more difficult. Of course, compared with the ordinary quadruple ancestor, his tempering speed is still faster. If you have obtained resources that can temper the will of the extreme way and are suitable for the peak powerhouse of the 4th level primitive ancestor, the tempering speed will be faster. I have obtained a lot of this kind of resources. If I temper the will pagoda, the speed of completing a tempering should be very fast. Yi Tian thought to himself. The cultivation base has broken through to the peak of the 4th level ancestor, and this long purple gold river is useless to Yi Tian. He left here directly and returned to his residence. In the days that followed, Yi Tian began to refine the will pagoda with all his strength. He combined the extreme quenching technique with the 365 extreme extremities that he had comprehended, forming his own unique extreme quenching technique. However, there was less than 10,000 yuan epochs left to go to the primordial golden territory, and it was impossible for him to complete the tempering of his will pagoda in such a short period of time. Before you know it, it's time to go to the original golden domain. This day, The holy sect of the Void Fang brought a group of the 4-level original ancestors, some top true disciples and deacons who were very close to the half-step 5-level original ancestors, and went to the original gold domain. Many primitive ancestors escaped into a coordinate of the original Black Sea under the leadership of the holy ancestor Tianya, and after a short journey, they came to the barrier of the original territory of Shangaling. At this point, the general ancestors are unable to move forward no matter what. I saw Tianya Saint Ancestor directly smash this layer of barrier and continued to move forward. Afterwards, after passing through a transfer station in the Middle Plains, he came to the second layer of barrier, hit 5.9 to break the barrier again, and moved on. Finally, after breaking the 3 barriers, it arrived at the destination of this time, the original Golden Domain. Hey, it turned out to be an area that existed directly in the original Black Sea. Yi Tian was surprised. At first, he thought that this primordial golden territory was similar to those primordial territories, only bordering the primordial Black Sea, but he did not expect it to be directly part of the primordial Black Sea, but it had undergone special changes to form this special area. Now, the area is blocked off, you can see it, but you can't get in. And a magnificent pagoda stands on the original Black Sea, and a stalwart figure standing nearby is a 5-level ancestor, and there may even be a half-step 6-level ancestor. It's here, all the original ancestors are low-key, this is not the upper spiritual realm. The holy ancestor Tianya reminded. Many ancestors nodded. Chapter 2135 Enter the original Jinyu. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. With the passage of time, there are more and more quadruple primitive ancestors gathered here, and the number has reached a very terrifying level. Not a few. After a long time, all the forces have arrived. After you enter this pagoda and break into the 7th floor, you can directly enter the primordial golden territory from the 7th floor. If you can't even enter the 7th floor, then come back. Tianya Holy Ancestor said. Yes, many quadruple ancestors responded. One after another, the ancestors of the 4 layers entered this pagoda, and Yi Tian naturally also entered. Each quadruple ancestor entered a different area, so they would not meet each other. Yi Tian entered the 1st floor of this pagoda and soon encountered an opponent. This is a condensed opponent, with good combat effectiveness. However, Yi Tian killed him in an instant. 2nd floor. The 3rd floor. 4th floor. In a blink of an eye, Yi Tian broke through the 7th floor. At this time, a portal appeared. Yi Tian passed through the portal, and 29 entered the primordial golden domain directly. The original golden field. After Yi Tian entered here, he felt the speciality of this area. The energy was still the energy of the original Black Sea, but there was a special energy between heaven and earth. This energy was easily absorbed by the original ancestor and improved the original ancestor's cultivation. If you can cultivate here, the cultivation speed is at least dozens of times faster than the outside world. Yi Tian thought to himself. Of course, the primordial Jinyu will give birth to the primordial golden pearl, and naturally it must be blocked, and the primordial ancestor will not be allowed to practice here. It didn't take long for the 4 ancestors to come here, and the 4 ancestors who couldn't make it to the 7th floor left the pagoda one by one and returned to the outside world. A total of 63 fourfold ancestors have entered, which is quite okay. Tianya Saint Ancestor murmured. In the last session, only 59 quaternary ancestors entered the holy gate of Void Fang, and this time there are 4 more quaternary ancestors. Of course, quantity doesn't mean anything, quality is more important. If this batch of 4-layer ancestors can give birth to several more 5-layer ancestors, this is the most important thing. At this time, one half-step 6th-level ancestor from outside the original Golden Territory proposed to gamble to see which high-level original region had the most number of 4th-level ancestors in the top 100. Any 5 ancestors of the high original domain can participate in the gambling battle, and there will be certain odds. For example, in Shangaling Yuan, the number of 4 ancestors given is 3 choices, 1 or more, 2 or more, and 0. If you bet 2 or more 4-level ancestors to enter the top 100 of the original Golden Domain, and the result is really like this, then the 5-level ancestor who bet on the bet can get the bet. If the result is not the same, then lose the bet. This is also a kind of fun for these 5-level ancestors and half-step 6-level ancestors. Now, many 5-level peak ancestors of the upper spirit realm did not know whether to participate in it, but after thinking about it carefully, they still participated in it. They don't ask for much, and they just bet a few resources and consider it as fun. It is difficult for the 4-level ancestor of the Shangaling Yuan to enter the top 100. Tianya Saint Ancestor secretly sighed. In the last session, none of the Shengling Yuan entered the top 100. The standard for the top 100 is not only the number of primitive gold beads obtained, but also the killing value. For example, if a lot of quadruple primitive ancestors are killed, then the ranking will increase. Of course, if you get a lot of original gold beads, your ranking will also increase. And how to detect these will be recorded by a primitive treasure, the mysterious list, which is very fair, and there will be no mistakes. I'll bet that there will be 1 or 2 quadruple ancestors in the top 100 in Shengling Yuan. This time, there is a very enchanting quadruple ancestor in Shengling Shunman, who has been suppressing it. With his cultivation base, once he enters the primordial golden domain, he will break through to the half-step 5-layer primordial ancestor. Moreover, he has a lot of trump cards. With his strength, as long as he is not unlucky, he may really hope to enter the top 100. It is a pity to bet 1 if they are famous, the odds they set are too low, it is better to bet on 2 or more, and the odds are 10 times. Tianya Saint Ancestor secretly said. 10 times the odds are very disdainful of Shengling Yuan, but this is also an opportunity. If the bet wins, it will make a big profit. Yi Tian didn't know that those 5th-level ancestors and half-step 6th-level ancestors were betting on the outside world. If he knew, he wouldn't mind. For him, the goal this time is to obtain a large amount of primordial gold beads. According to the information, the primordial gold beads are randomly bred, and there are no rules. If you are lucky, you may be able to pick up the primordial gold beads at will. Of course, there is an environment where a lot of primordial gold beads will be born, and that is an area that emits a lot of golden light, and a lot of primordial gold beads will be born there. Yi Tian kept searching in the primordial golden domain, and soon found a primordial golden pearl. The first one, luck is okay. Yi Tian smiled, but he is also very clear that this is just entering the primordial golden domain, and there are a lot of primordial golden pearls here, which makes it easy to pick up one. After a long time has passed, don't think about picking up the original golden beads easily, and even need to kill each other to grab enough original golden beads. Of course, you can also choose to leave the original Jinyu directly, then you will not be killed. However, many quadruple ancestors might not be reconciled until they have collected enough original gold beads. Finally 110 Changshan Yuanzu was quite excited. Although the half-step 5-layer ancestor is not great, but with his strength, at least he is considered to be the top group among the many ancestors of the original Jinyu. Half-step 5 original ancestors, and I have solidified 2 original control skills of the original life, and they are all complete original control skills. With my level, even if I encounter those perverts, I have hope to escape. It's time to find the original gold beads. By the way, slaughter some weak people. Those half-step 6-layer primitive ancestors in the outside world must be fighting. I have to have a few primitive ancestors, reach the top 100 on the list, and be famous in the entire Primordial Plains region. Changshan Yuanzu murmured. Fame is what he desires most. Time passed slowly. The original ancestor of Changshan found a few original golden beads, and also killed 2 original ancestors of the 4 peaks in the middle, but unfortunately there was nothing good on the other side. However, he enjoys killing. Unexpected, he sensed the breath of a 4th-level ancestor again. This powerhouse at the peak of the 4th-level ancestor should have just broken through not long ago. The original ancestor of Changshan secretly said. At this time, the 4th-level ancestor also looked at him, and the 2 sides faced each other across the air. A half-step 5-level ancestor. Yi Tian noticed the void in front of him who was staring at him, and seemed to be looking for trouble for him. Swish, the opponent made a move, and it was directly the original control skill of the perfection level. Chapter 2136 The original gold beads broke 10,000. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. In the face of Changshan Yuanzu's attack, Yi Tian directly cast the endless mask. Boom, a half-step 5-layer original ancestor's perfection level original control skill hit Yi Tian's endless mask, and it shattered directly, unable to break Yi Tian's defense at all. Seeing this scene, Changshan Yuanzu was stunned. He has broken through to the half-step 5th-level primitive ancestor, his strength has undergone a qualitative change, and he has comprehended 108 extremes and mastered 2 perfection-level original control skills. He admitted that he was not the most powerful, and among the original ancestors of the original Golden Territory, there was definitely a half-step 5-layer ancestor who was much more powerful than him. However, he never looked for the trouble of the other half-step 5th-level ancestors, only the troubles of the 4th-level peak ancestors. As a result, met the pervert Yi Tian. Unexpected. A touch of golden light came, and it was Yi Tian's supreme primordial control skill, endless golden light. Puff! The body of Changshan's original ancestor was directly penetrated, and any means were useless, and the strength gap was too great. The supreme primordial control technique is extremely powerful, and after it is transformed into the primordial control technique, the increase is even more terrifying. Moreover, Yi Tian had just used another primordial control skill, endless primal body, which could also increase endless golden light. This makes the power of endless golden light far beyond what Changshan Yuanzu can resist. If Changshan Yuanzu's will pagoda has been tempered dozens of times, there is still hope that he can stop it, but he has only tempered it 9 times, and his strength is not strong. After one blow, Changshan Yuanzu was killed by bombardment. Swish! Yi Tian came to the place where Changshan Yuanzu was killed, took the resources from him, and left quickly. Yi Tian killed the original ancestor of Changshan, and his ranking on the list soared, reaching the top 100. Of course, the ranking at this time is meaningless, even those half-step 6-layer primitive ancestors will not care, only in the later stage, this ranking is meaningful, and the premise is that it cannot be released in advance. If it comes out ahead of time, the ranking will soon be surpassed by other ancestors. Time passed slowly. Yi Tian found more and more primordial gold beads, and at this time, the slaughter became more frequent. Many 4th-level ancestors were reluctant to go out, but they were hunted and killed one by those half-step 5th-level ancestors. The Holy Door of Void Fang. The Bingyu Holy Sun showed a helpless and regretful look, and sighed deeply. Hey, you shouldn't stay there, you should come out in time, you should come out after you have found more than a dozen primordial gold beads and some precious resources. Yes, the result is now killed, all gone. 1. The other newly promoted saints were also killed one by one very quickly, and only a few came out in time, which brought out a few original golden beads, but it was meaningless. What the Void Fang Holy Sect really values is the Holy Sun who has broken through to the half-step 5-layered primordial ancestor after entering the primordial golden domain. Only then can they hope to obtain a large amount of primordial gold beads. The Holy Sect of the Void Fang also instructed these Holy Sons of the half-step 5-layer primordial ancestors to come out immediately and not to stay once they have collected enough primordial gold beads. After all, there are too many terrifying primordial ancestors in the entire primordial realm region. Even the half-step 5-level primordial ancestral son of the Void Fang Holy Sect may be killed by the opponent in seconds. 1,800 original gold beads. Yi Tian is quite satisfied with the harvest he has received. With so many primordial gold beads, he almost had a 20% success rate, and with his original 50% success rate, he now has a nearly 70% chance of becoming the 5th-level primordial ancestor. However, it's not enough. He never dislikes things like the original golden beads. Relying on the search for the original golden beads is too slow, I have to take the initiative to hunt those original ancestors. Yi Tian decided. Not only did he think so, but also the powerful half-step 5-layer ancestors. After all, if you kill an ancestor, you can get a lot of resources. Who doesn't want to do this? Find it slowly by yourself. How slow is that? Soon, Yi Tian sensed the existence of a half-step 5th-level ancestor. Come to the opponent at an endless speed, directly cast endless golden light, and instantly kill the opponent. This guy has collected more than 600 primordial gold beads, which is not bad. Now my number of primordial gold beads has reached more than 2,400. Yi Tian said with a smile. Moreover, he also obtained a lot of resources from this half-step 5-layer primitive ancestor, which is also an additional gain. In the following time, one by one half-step 5-level ancestors became Yi Tian's hunting targets, and one by one half-step 5-level ancestors were killed by him. Of course, more of the 4-level peak ancestors also died in his hands. The 4-level peak ancestors who still dare to stay here if they haven't left at this time are either confident in their own strength, or they are not willing to leave. Go. But no matter what kind, they were all killed by Yi Tian. Gradually, the number of primordial gold beads on Yi Tian exceeded 10,000. In other words, Yi Tian can 100% break through to become the 5th-level primordial ancestor, and there will be some extra primordial gold beads. At the same time, Yi Tian's ranking on the list accidentally entered the top 10. Outside, Wanzan Bang. In Shangling Yuan, the name of the endless ancestor is impressively ranked 9th. Seeing this ranking, the 5 ancestors of the ancestors of Shangling were stunned. The holy ancestor of Tianya was also shocked. Endless ancestor, he rushed to the 9th place. He knew that Yi Tian had entered the top 100 before, but after all, it was in the early stage, so this ranking was nothing. But now it's almost the end stage, and Yi Tian actually reached the 9th place on the myriad profound ranking. This is not luck, but strength. I think the endless primordial ancestor has just broken through the peak realm, which means that he can't become the half-step 5th level primordial patriarch now. Ranked 9th on the myriad profound ranking at the peak of the 4th level. Did you find countless primordial golden beads, or did you kill a large number of quadruple primordial ancestors along the way? He also knew that Yi Tian was almost invincible when he was the 3rd ancestor, and even the 9 ancestors were killed by him. So this time, the holy sect of the Void Fang cultivated him and helped him break through to the peak of the 4th layer primordial ancestor. But now it seems that the strength of the endless ancestors is really terrifying, otherwise, if you are purely lucky, you will not be able to get here. The 9th primordial ancestor of the endless, the one from the sacred spirit sect, is in the 70th or 80th place. If it is stable, wouldn't there be 2 primitive ancestors in the top 100? The holy ancestor Tianya rejoiced. In this way, he is afraid that he will win the bet, and it is still 10 times the odds. Of course, this is only a possibility. If one of the 2 dies, he will still lose. Soon, the Void Fang sect also knew that Yi Tian had entered the 9th place on the myriad profound ranking, and many of the 5 original ancestors were shocked. Chapter 2137 The First Strong Enemy. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. The infinite ancestor actually entered the 9th place on the myriad profound ranking. The original ancestor of Fengming was very surprised. She also participated once. At that time, it was also in the realm of the half-step 5-layer original ancestor, and she was lucky enough to survive. At that time, she also encountered dangerous situations many times at that time, and almost died of her will. She knows very well how terrifying the ancestors of the powerful and higher original realms are in the original golden realm, and those in the upper spiritual realm who have comprehended 108 extreme extremes, and have solidified more than 2 kinds of primordial control of life. Skills, if you are not careful, may not save your life. Moreover, even if he had a strong life-saving ability, and he didn't die, he would not be able to enter the 9th place on the myriad profound ranking. The endless primordial ancestor is only the peak of the 4-fold primordial ancestor. How many extreme extremes did he understand, and how many trump cards did he have? The original ancestor of Fengming was curious. And Bingyu Saint Sun, these 4-level ancestors, learned that Yi Tian had entered the 9th place on the myriad profound ranking, crushing a large number of half-step 5-level ancestors in the entire primordial plains region, and they were all stunned. You must know that there are 93 high-level original regions in the Taikuyuan region, and the Shangling region is ranked in the middle. Even if it is the 1st and 4th ancestors of the upper-level region, it may be in some high-level regions. Not in the top 3. Even if Shangling Yuan can have a half-step 5-layer ancestor who ranks in the top 100, it would be unfortunate luck. It was not long before Yi Tian broke through to the peak of the 4th-level ancestor, and it was impossible for him to become a half-step 5th-level ancestor after entering the original golden domain at 110. Therefore, Yi Tian was still in a weak position in terms of cultivation. As a result, Yi Tian reached the 9th place on the myriad profound ranking. What a monster this is! And not long afterward, the entire upper level of the upper spirit realm heard about Yi Tian's existence. 9 Lights Holy Gate. The endless ancestor is so evil, it's a little troublesome to kill him. Dawn Saint Ancestor frowned. Even if he breaks through to the half-step 6-layer original ancestor, the virtual Fang Saint at the Void Fang sect will definitely not allow him to kill the endless ancestor, and the virtual Fang Saint is an old-fashioned half-step 6-layer ancestor. I don't know how far he is from the original ancestor of the 6th layer. Moreover, once a monster like Yi Tian really became the original ancestor of the 5th layer, he would not even think about killing him. When I become a half-step 6th level ancestor, I will still look for opportunities, but I must be foolproof before I can make a move. Dawn Saint Ancestor thought. After all, he didn't want to fail either, otherwise he would be in trouble in the future if he offends such a monstrous ancestor. This half-step 5th layer primitive ancestor is not weak, and he actually possesses such primitive holy soldiers, blocking my endless golden light, and it took a dozen tricks to kill him. Yi Tian held a bead and muttered. The original divine soldier, the original holy soldier, the original supreme treasure. This is the grade of the original ancestor level weapons in the high original domain. Among them, the original holy soldiers are very different from each other, and this mirror is definitely the top primitive holy soldier. In addition, this guy's strength is also very strong, he has comprehended about 150 kinds of extreme extremes, and he has also created more than 150 kinds of perfection-level natal primordial control skills. Coupled with this original holy soldier defensive weapon, his strength is indeed very powerful. It is a pity that he met him, and he pierced through the body of the original ancestor with endless golden light, annihilating it and killing it. Hey, this guy also got more than 10,000 primordial gold beads, that's great. Yi Tian said excitedly, the region boundary of the Taiku Yuan, the Junhe Yuan. The original ancestor of Tionline was extremely angry. Damn, I was actually killed by a guy at the peak of the 4th level original ancestor. My more than 10,000 original golden beads, my black cloud beads, are gone. After a while, a group of 5-level ancestors and half-step 6-level ancestors outside the Golden Territory found that the name of the 53rd Tionline ancestor on the Myriad Profound ranking had disappeared. What happened to this ancestor of Tionline? The name suddenly disappeared. A half-step 6th level ancestor asked curiously. At this moment, a half-step 6th level ancestor from the Junheyuan said coldly, the will clone of the Tionline ancestor was killed, so his name will disappear. What, the 53rd place on the Myriad Profound ranking was killed? If he can make it to the top 100, there shouldn't be a big difference in strength between them. Even if he can't beat it, he can still escape, unless he meets the top few on the Myriad Profound ranking, will be killed. Who killed it? I'm a little curious. Don't irritate Junhe Yuanyu. There are only 2 Yuanzu who entered the top 100 of the Myriad Profound ranking, and one of them has fallen. The loss is not small. CJFJ. I am afraid that the 5-layer ancestors in the Real River area will lose their bets this time, ha ha ha, most of them bet more than 2 people, and only one is left. The half-step 6th level ancestor of the Junhe Yuanyuan did not continue to speak, nor did he reveal who killed it. In fact, he did not know who it was. He only knows that he is a 4th level peak ancestor, although it is unbelievable, but it is a fact. If he said that it was a 4th level peak ancestor who killed the Tionline ancestor, the half-step 6th level ancestors of other high-level regions should not be ridiculed desperately. So, he just shut up. As time passed, Yi Tian's ranking on the Myriad Mysteries ranking slowly rose from 9th to 8th, 7th, 6th, and 5th. At this speed, Yi Tian even has the hope of rising to the 1st place on the Myriad Profound ranking. Certainly, Yi Tian has no idea of competing for this list. He doesn't even know how many names he is in. He just wants to kill some more half-step 5-layer primitive ancestors to obtain more resources and primitive golden beads. More than 80,000 original golden beads. Yi Tian is extremely satisfied with his harvest. However, the number of primitive ancestors that still existed in the original Jinyu was very small, and many primitive ancestors left directly. The original ancestors who stayed here today are almost all half-step 5-level ancestors, and they are all very powerful half-step 5-level ancestors, otherwise they would not have the courage to stay here. This day, Yi Tian met another half-step 5-level ancestor, the original ancestor of the 9 swords. If Yi Tian asked about the holy sect of the Void Fang, he would know that the original ancestor of Jujian ranked 10th on the Myriad Profound ranking, and definitely belonged to one of the most enchanting ancestors in the entire Primordial Plains region. Hey, during this time period, there is also a 4th level peak ancestor, this guy is really bold. LGN Yuanzu asked curiously. He didn't think too much about it, and cut it straight away. In his opinion, 1 sword is enough to kill a quadruple peak ancestor, if it still can't be solved, then 2 swords. Swish, Yi Tian used his infinite speed to dodge this sword, and then killed the original ancestor of the 9 swords. Seeing this, the original ancestor of the 9 swords became solemn. He knew that Yi Tian was not easy, so he immediately exerted all his strength. Boom, the 1000 Tribulations sword body is activated, this is the body of the top ancestor. Moreover, there are 365 layers of will pagodas on his body, protecting the whole body, but only 288 layers of the extreme poles are engraved on the will pagoda. Therefore, he only comprehended 288 extreme extremes. But for ordinary ancestors, this is also very terrifying. Zanyu sword, the extremely terrifying perfection level primordial control skill erupted, turning into a terrifying sword light and slashing towards Yi Tian. And Yi Tian protected his whole body with an endless mask, and then used endless golden light to attack the original ancestor of the 9 swords. Not only that, Yi Tian also used the endless black domain to cover this area, and he didn't want to let the original ancestor of the 9 swords escape. Before, he had not used the endless black domain, because it was unnecessary, and the other ancestors could not escape. But judging from Jujian Yuanzu's full-strength shot, this is a powerful enemy, and he must ensure that he can keep him. Chapter 2138 swept the audience, scared them all away. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Boom. Under the suppression of the endless black domain, the original ancestor of the 9 swords was completely suppressed. Click. His thousand tribulations sword body was cracked, and the original holy soldier long sword in his hand was also cracked by Yi Tian. At this time, Yi Tian's endless golden light called again. The original ancestor of Jujian used a defense perfection level original control skill of life thousand world sword cover, but it was still pierced by endless golden light. Damn, how could there be such a perverted quadruple peak ancestor? The original ancestor of the 9 swords was completely stunned. Moreover, Yi Tian did not show his own will pagoda from beginning to end, and only used one of the original control skills, and it seemed that he did not fully erupt in combat power. Therefore, he is not sure how many extremes Yi Tian has comprehended, but he is definitely more than him. Maybe even comprehend 365 extremes. Impossible. I paid a huge price, and my master is still a 6th level ancestor, who prepared a lot of resources and treasures for me, and took me to countless treasure places. He can comprehend 288 extremes, this is already the limit, how could he comprehend 365 extremes? The original ancestor of Jujian did not dare to believe. But if it weren't for the 365 extremes, how could the other party be so evil? If it is really 365 extremes, then the original control skills of the original life displayed by the opponent are absolutely unparalleled. In this way, even if the opponent is the original ancestor of the 4th level peak, he can still crush him. 365 extremes, it is said that such a person was born in the Taikuyuan region in an endless era, but what a long period of time, and now another person has been born. The original ancestor of the 9 swords secretly said. Of course, he was only guessing, not completely sure. Soon, his injuries became heavier and heavier, he could no longer carry it, and the many life-saving treasures on his body were exhausted. Finally, an endless golden light came, directly smashing his body into annihilation. More than 80,000 primordial gold beads, the harvest this time is too great. Yi Tian was delighted to put away the resources of the 9 swords primordial ancestor and the primordial golden pearl, and said with a smile. Outside world, many ancestors looked at the Wanshuan ranking, and suddenly saw that the name of the original ancestor of the 9 swords disappeared, and the rank of the endless ancestor suddenly soared to the 1st place. Seeing this scene, no matter how stupid these 5-level ancestors and half-step 6th-level ancestors are, they know what happened. Impossible, how could the original ancestor of the 9 swords be killed? A half-step 6th-layer primitive ancestor said in shock. The original ancestor of the 9 swords was actually killed. He is the disciple of that lord, right? He is the direct disciple of the original ancestor of the 6th layer. It is said that he has also comprehended 288 extreme ways and possessed 5 primordial control skills. Possessing many trump cards, and after entering the primordial golden territory, the cultivation base must have reached the half-step 5th level ancestor. With such strength, even the weaker 5th level ancestor is not his opponent. The original ancestor of Jujian has dozens of 5-level ancestors lives in his hands, and his strength was killed. I didn't expect his will clone to be killed in the original Jinyu, and all the gains this time were lost. Now, the original ancestor of Jujian is the disciple of that lord, and he is not lacking in these resources. The original ancestor of the Endless, the one from the upper spiritual region, has even reached the 1st place on the myriad profound ranking. Could this be a secretly cultivated genius from the upper spiritual region? Shangling Yuan doesn't even have a 6th level ancestor, I didn't expect to cultivate such a monster. Secret cultivation. Heavenly Tooth Saint ancestor is very clear about what the situation is. The virtual Tooth Saint sect does not have much for Yi Tian's cultivation at all. It is not that he does not want to cultivate, it is that Yi Tian's growth rate is too fast, and Yi Tian itself has obtained massive resources, so there is no shortage of resources. Therefore, they let Yi Tian cultivate by himself, and did not give many good things. But he never imagined that Yi Tian actually crushed the half-step 5-level ancestors of the entire primordial realm region, and directly reached the 1st place on the myriad profound ranking. What kind of strength is this? Moreover, this time it was Yi Tian who killed the original ancestor of the 9 swords, so no one would think it was luck. This is the luck of our Void Fang Holy Gate. The holy ancestor Tianya said excitedly. As long as Yi Tian becomes the 5th level ancestor, he will definitely be invincible among the 5 level ancestors. At that time, with the resources of the entire Void Fang Holy Sect, there may be hope to accumulate Yi Tian's cultivation base to the 5th level original in a short time. Ancestral Peak Realm. At that time, I am afraid that it will directly crush those half-step 6th level ancestors. With such a strong person, the Holy Sect of the Void Fang still has to worry about the Holy Sect of 9 Lights. The entire Zhuguang Holy Sect, just 2 half-step 6th level ancestors, is not enough for Yi Tian to kill alone. Of course, the premise of everything is that Yi Tian can grow up. Go back and let Yi Tian's body not be out of the Void Fang Sacred Gate, then there is no problem. Those 6-layer primitive ancestors are all big figures in the Taiku Yuan area, and it is impossible to deal with the endless primitive ancestor, and the Void Fang Door Master can to deal with the other half-step 6-layer primitive ancestors. Tianya Holy Ancestor secretly said. At the same time, the other 5-layered Holy Gates in the Upper Spirit Realm have congratulated the Virtual Tooth Holy Gate. On the surface, it is congratulations, but secretly it is jealous. After all, such an evildoer came from the Holy Sect of the Void Fang, who wouldn't be jealous? For flowers, of course, except for the 9 Lights Sacred Sect, the other 5-layer Sacred Sect and the Void Fang Sacred Sect did not have a big conflict, so it was impossible to kill Yi Tian, otherwise they could not afford the price of failure. The senior members of Zhuguang Shengmen were a little panicked and were thinking about countermeasures. Time passed slowly, and there were fewer and fewer ancestors in the original Golden Territory, and even many half-step 5-level ancestors were forced to come out under the orders of their own high-level forces. After all, there is an existence like Yi Tian who can easily kill the half-step 5th-level ancestor. Even the 9GN ancestor was killed, and the other half-step 5th-level ancestors couldn't bear it. If they meet Yi Tian, they will die. So, coming out now is the best way. However, there is a half-step 5-fold original ancestor. Oh, so, he was caught by Yi Tian and killed a few more half-step 5-layer ancestors. Finally, on this day, Yi Tian was the only ancestor left in the original Jinyu, and all the other ancestors were withdrawn. Point 0. Yi Tian searched for a long time, but couldn't find any other original ancestors, but there were still very few original golden beads left in the original golden area, and Yi Tian took a long time to collect them all. It's time to leave, there's no point in looking for it anymore, and these ancestors are too timid, they all ran away. Yi Tian thought to himself. But he didn't think about it, even the original ancestors of the 9 swords were killed, although there were several original ancestors that were comparable to the original ancestors of the 9 swords, and maybe even a little more powerful than the original ancestors of the 9 swords. However, Yi Tian can kill the original ancestors of the 9 swords, and naturally he can also kill them. Moreover, the original ancestor of Zhujian revealed that he had no strength to resist, who would dare to stay? Just like that, Yi Tian also came out. And the sky carries nearly 300,000 primordial gold beads, which are the half-step 5-level primordial ancestors of the last few kills, and accumulated so many primordial gold beads all at once. After all, who has survived to the last half-step 5-layer primitive ancestor? Whoever does not have tens of thousands of primitive gold beads in his hand, will make a big profit by killing one. It's a pity that the other half-step 5-layer primitive ancestors escaped into space, otherwise he would kill a few more, then he would make more money. When Yi Tian came out of the primordial golden territory, the eyes of the 5th-level ancestor and the half-step 6th-level ancestor locked on him, bringing him great pressure. However, these 5th-level ancestors and half-step 6th-level ancestors didn't take action. They didn't dare to violate the agreement and attacked Yi Tian here. What's the point of holding such an event? It turned out to be just the original ancestor of the 4th-level peak. One by one, the half-step 6-layer primitive ancestor said in surprise. And at this moment, the Heavenly Tooth Sacred Ancestor immediately protected Yi Tian, and this was secretly relieved. Immediately, after he exchanged the bet, he immediately resigned to the other ancestors, and hurriedly returned to the corpse with Yi Tian. Chapter 2139 Return, The Shock of the Ancestors of the Virtual Tooth. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Not long after, Tianya Saint Ancestor finally successfully brought Yi Tian back. At this time, he breathed a sigh of relief. The will clone is killed, it is nothing, but Yi Tian must have a huge amount of resources and the original gold beads. What? After all, any power needs the primordial gold beads, this is the treasure of the 5 primordial ancestors. Endless primordial ancestor, how many primordial gold pearls did you get? Tianya Saint Ancestor asked. 250,000. Yi Tian said less than 50,000 pieces. He knew very well that the holy sect of the Void Fang would definitely want to trade the original gold beads on him, so he concealed more than 50,000 pieces of the original gold beads. This is for his relatives, otherwise there will be endless years. After that, his relatives grew up to the realm of the fourfold original ancestor, lacking 0, and lacking the original gold beads, he could not become the 5th level original ancestor, and he could not get it to the original gold beads. Therefore, now I have obtained so many original gold beads, and directly keep some of them. 250,000 primordial gold beads. Heavenly Tooth Sacred Ancestor took a deep breath. This is enough to make 25 half-step 5-level ancestors firmly become 5-level ancestors. You must know that there are not many 5th-level ancestors in the entire Void Fang Holy Sect. At best there are more than 300 5th-level ancestors, so 25 5th-level ancestors are of great significance. Moreover, it is really necessary to make reasonable use of so many primordial gold beads, but not only 25 5 primordial ancestors are born. After all, the success rate of those holy sons themselves is more than 10%, and some can even approach the 20% success rate, so they do not need 10,000 original gold beads. If used rationally, more than 35 ancestors can be born. Endless primordial ancestor, you don't need so many primordial gold beads, can you donate the extra primal gold beads to the Void Fang Sacred Gate? Of course, the Void Fang Sacred Door will not be in vain. You have broken through to the 5-layer primitive ancestor and the Void Tooth Sacred Sect will do its best to provide you with the resources that the 5th-layer primitive ancestor cultivates to the peak of the 5th-layer primitive ancestor. Moreover, I can apply for a primitive treasure bodyguard for you. Tianya's sacred ancestor said. I promise. Yi Tian nodded. He also knew that he could not refuse. Later, Yi Tian also saw the holy ancestor of the Void Fang. Endless ancestor, you are very good. The holy ancestor Void Fang exclaimed. Sect master, I'm just lucky. Yi Tian said humbly. Don't be humble with me, you can snatch so many primordial gold beads, which is enough to prove your strength. I really want to know, have you comprehended the 365 extreme extremes? Yi Tian also knew that he couldn't hide it, he was so evil this time, everyone would doubt it. Yes, Yi Tian nodded. Seeing Yi Tian admit it, the holy ancestor Void Fang couldn't help but take a breath, and the holy ancestor Tianya was also shocked. Although there were speculations, they were still shocked when they got Yi Tian's acknowledgement. 365 extreme extremes, it seems that you have also solidified the primordial control technique of the supreme life into the primordial control technique of life. Said the illusory ancestor. Yes, Yi Tian nodded. Very good, the holy ancestor of the Void Fang said. Do you know what are the chances of becoming the original ancestor of the 6th level by engraving the 365 extreme extremes on the Pagoda of Will? How many? Yi Tian was a little curious. 50%. The Void Fang Holy Ancestor said, and the half-step 6th level ancestor with 108 extreme extremes inscribed, the probability of breaking through to the 6th level ancestor is only 1%. This is also the Taiku Yuan. The reason why the 6th layer primitive ancestors are so rare in the regional world. As long as you don't fall, you will almost certainly become a 6th level ancestor in the future. We have not yet born a 6th level ancestor in the upper spiritual realm. If a 6th level ancestor is born, the status of the upper spiritual realm will not be, it would be so embarrassing. Immediately, the voice of the ancestor of the virtual tooth changed. Of course, 108 extreme extremes are engraved, and the combat power is invincible at the same level, and it is getting stronger and stronger in the later stage. There are only 3 systems of inscriptions involving 108 extreme extremes in the entire Taikuyuan region, and in our upper spirit region, there is only the original Zhoutian map. 1. Yes. Yi Tian nodded. Do you know how many primordial ancestors who have comprehended the 365 extreme extremes have been born in the entire primordial realm region? Said the Void Fang Holy Ancestor. I don't know. Yi Tian shook his head. Before you, there is only one. Said the Void Fang Holy Ancestor. Just one. Yi Tian was shocked, but when he thought about the difficulty of comprehending the 365 extreme extremes and condensing the 365 layers of the Will Pagoda, he felt normal. The 365 layers of extreme extremes can still be condensed by forcibly condensing them with the background of the 5-layer Holy Gate, but they want to comprehend the 365 extreme extremes. If there are not so many extreme ancestors, it is impossible to do this, and it is almost impossible. So, from now on, you will say that you have comprehended the 360 kinds of extreme extremes, not to mention that you have grasped the 365 extreme extremes. The ancestor of the virtual tooth said. Sect Master, I understand. But if this is the case, the outside world doesn't believe it, right? Without the supreme primordial control skill, the difference in strength is not the same as the one with the supreme primordial control skill. Yi Tian said, don't worry, I will say that you have a primordial treasure that can increase the primal control skills. Said the Void Fang sacred ancestor, and took out a primordial treasure. This is the primordial treasure promise golden light pagoda. It can barely refine it. Of course, its use is not to increase the original control skills, but only for defense and life-saving purposes. However, if you say that it can increase the original POM 5.9 control skills, it can increase the original control skills. You have refined it, and then find an occasional opportunity to expose it. In addition to my statement, the other ancestors will be dubious. When you step into the 6th level ancestor, even if it is really exposed, there will be no what's the matter. Thank you Sect Master, Yi Tian thanked. Immediately, Yi Tian took over the primordial treasure promise golden light pagoda, and he also handed over 240,000 primordial golden beads to the Void Fang Saint ancestor. This is the inheritance of becoming the original ancestor of the 5 layers, give it to you. Before the holy ancestor Void Fang left, he threw an inheritance ball and said. Yi Tian took it and quickly accepted this inheritance. Only at this time did he know how to become the original ancestor of the 5th layer. The will pagoda has been tempered more than 9 times, which is only the first condition, and it is the easiest condition. Chapter 2140 The Original Calamity. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. From the 4-level peak primordial ancestor to the 5th level primordial ancestor, a total of 3 conditions need to be met. One of them is to temper the will pagoda 9 times, and if you complete it, you can become the half-step 5-fold original ancestor. The second condition is to temper the body of the original ancestor, and it also needs to be tempered more than 9 times. The body of the original ancestor can also be tempered. Yi Tian was very surprised. His original ancestor's body is the original Zhou Tian's body, and it is the original ancestor's body formed by condensing the original Zhou Tian's map. Now I know that the body of the original ancestor can also be tempered again and again, and he has not tempered it once. And if you want to temper the body of the original ancestor, you must have a very strong will and extreme cooperation. Of course, the most important point is that it requires the original mastery of the life to be tempered, and this process requires the body tempering of the life of the extreme way, which is also a very important inheritance, and there is no ordinary force at all. If you have this 29 life extreme body tempering technique, tempering the body of the original ancestor is not very difficult. It can be said that these 2 conditions only take a long time and are not difficult. The real difficulty is the 3rd condition, which is also the reason for trapping countless half-step 5-layer primordial ancestors, that is, absorbing primordial calamity. The primordial calamity was born in the primordial Black Sea, and every few years, some will be born, and randomly appear somewhere in the primordial Black Sea, but once it appears, it will be robbed by the 5 original ancestors. As for ordinary ancestors wanting to obtain the original calamity, the possibility is close to 0, unless it is really unfortunate. Undiscovered by the 5 ancestors. In addition, there are other channels for any 5th layer holy gate to obtain the original calamity, but the amount is very small, and it takes a long time to accumulate some. The original ancestors of the 5 layers of the upper spiritual realm control the original calamity, and this is the reason why those 4-layer Tianmen can't give birth to the 5th level ancestors, because they can't get the share of the original robbery at all. Of course, even if one possesses the primordial calamity chi, there is only a very low probability of becoming the 5-layer primordial ancestor. After all, the original calamity only makes the half-step 5-level ancestor eligible to become the 5-level ancestor, but the success rate of each half-step 5-level ancestor is different. Once it fails, it's gone. For example, the elders of the half-step 5-layer original ancestral branch of the Void Fang sect have also obtained a share of the original calamity, but after the breakthrough fails, there is no share, unless they have made great contributions to the Void Fang sect. There is a chance to get a second share. The success rate of the half-step 5-level ancestor breaking through to the 5-level ancestor is related to the number of extreme poles comprehended, and it is also related to the original control skills of life. Like the General Saint Sun, he has a 10% success rate. He has comprehended 108 extreme extremes, and he has more than 2 kinds of primordial control skills, and his success rate is just over 20%. Someone like Yi Tian has a 50% success rate. Therefore, even if you have gathered a piece of primordial calamity, you have to prepare treasures like primordial gold beads to increase the success rate. If you collect 10,000 primordial gold beads and have a share of primordial calamity, then you can become the 5-layer primordial ancestor 100%. However, how difficult it is to gather 10,000 primordial gold beads. On the other hand, if you gather a copy of the original calamity, there is still hope. After all, if you join the 5-level Holy Gate and become the half-step 5-level original ancestor, you can get a free copy of the original robbery. Under normal circumstances, if there is no primordial calamity, a half-step 5th-level primordial ancestor can also hope to reach the realm of the 5th-level primordial ancestor, but the success rate may be 1 in a billion, and each time it fails, the success rate will increase, lower and lower until the chance is lost forever. And if there is the original calamity, the success rate of ordinary holy sons may be increased to a success rate of 10%. Of course, if the physical body is not strong and the will is not strong, refining the primordial calamity chi will not only fail, but may also lead to death. In short, the more times of tempering, the success rate will be slightly increased, and even if it fails, it will not die. Refining the will pagoda for more than 9 times, tempering the body of the original ancestor more than 9 times, plus a portion of the original calamity, these are the 3 conditions. If you want to improve the success rate, you have to prepare a lot of original golden beads. Otherwise it's up to luck. Yi Tian was enlightened. However, many half-step 5-level ancestors of the Void Fang Holy Sect did not have the original gold beads. They only obtained a copy of the original calamity. They relied on luck to attack the 5-level ancestors, and they failed. Ancestor. Of course, there may be some half-step 5-level ancestors who still retain the original calamity, waiting for the opportunity to increase the success rate, and then go to the 5-level ancestor realm. Fortunately, I joined the Void Fang Holy Sect. Otherwise, if I were to do my own work, even if I obtained the inheritance in this area, it would be difficult to break through to the 5th-level ancestor without the original calamity. Yi Tian sighed to himself. At the moment, he doesn't need to worry about the original ancestor of the 5th layer. After all, he has so many original gold beads, and he can become the original ancestor of the 5th layer. Practicing to the true limit. And this process must require a lot of resources, and he himself has accumulated countless resources, and the Holy Sect of Void Fang also promised to provide resources for him to cultivate, so he does not need to worry about resources. The pagoda of will and the body of the original ancestor can be tempered at the same time, but generally, the pagoda of will is tempered first, and when the pagoda of will is tempered to a certain extent, then the body of the ancestor is tempered, and the speed will be many times faster. 110 Yi Tian thought to himself. Because if you temper the pagoda of will, the will of the extreme will become stronger and stronger, and the will of the extreme will be combined with the extreme and the original control skills of the original life to temper the body of the ancestor. Therefore, the stronger the will of the pole, the better the tempering effect. Yi Tian naturally has to temper the will pagoda first, and after the tempering process is completed, it is naturally much easier to temper the body of the original ancestor. Start tempering. Yi Tian used the extreme quenching technique to cooperate with his 365 extremes, and began to quench the will pagoda. Under a special fluctuation, Yi Tian's will pagoda began to be tempered, and this process requires all kinds of resources to enhance the will of the extreme way. Only in this way can the will of the extreme way be improved. Hardened. Yi Tian frantically tempers the will pagoda, and doesn't care about the consumption of resources at all. And Void Fang Tianmen also has some treasures, which are suitable for tempering the will pagoda and have certain auxiliary effects, so Yi Tian also went to those treasures to speed up the tempering speed. After more than 10,000 Yuan dynasty eras, Yi Tian successfully completed a tempering. Using the 365 extremes, it took so long to complete it, it's too difficult. Yi Tian secretly said.